sound right, boy. It sound right, boy. Check the mic and make sure it sound.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into debate night. Hopefully, you're having a great day, or I guess a great night because it's debate night, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're having a great night, and hopefully, you're ready to call in.
It's getting later and later. I was thinking about that today. Like, do we change the time of the show based off of daylight savings?
It's
First
not-
off, why do we have daylight savings?
Wait, what do you mean it's getting later?
Well, I mean, it just is like, it gets dark. Like, normally I would be able to like go to practice and practice till like, let's say 6 or 6:30, go home, shower, and then like come straight here, right? And it's like a nice little flow. Now it's like, it's getting dark at like 5. Like you gotta finish doing what you're doing at like 4:30. So there's a huge gap. I mean, first off, let's just daylight savings. What is the reason? Why are we doing
I don't
that?
fully understand it. I mean, I know that like.
Does anyone like it getting darker early at
Well,
night?
so here's the thing, right? Is
No.
one of the reasons was for farmers. Is what I'd always heard growing up. Is like that way it gets lighter earlier still. Like it keeps it getting light at like 7. But I'm like, does it really matter if the farmer is out in the field at 7 a.m. or just as soon as it's light? Like it's the same. Like time is relative, right? So like sun up to sundown doesn't change.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a farmer, you're not working 9 to 5.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
The time
you should just work when it's light out.
like the time doesn't matter.
No, so I mean, I think
But
there's.
then saying could be said to you.
What do you mean?
Show up to work at 6. You get an extra hour.
No, I'm saying we need to have where.
There's something to think about.
What if we
all just operate on foundation time?
What is foundation time?
We just ignore daylight savings. It's 6 o'clock right now,
No.
or 7 o'clock
Okay,
right now.
here's what Google says.
So like we're going to bed.
Oh, Silas Googled it.
I'm going to
Daylight
bed.
saving time is used to save energy and make better use of daylight.
Now, what saves energy?
I don't know, but that's what Google says.
See, that's where I just don't like. Time is just something that we all agree to go by, right?
Wait, no, but you can't say that because
How?
No, hear me out. You can't say, okay, we'll just start. If you want, okay, I want it to get dark at 8 o'clock at night. Let's say, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, we'll just assume like when everyone goes daylight savings and it's 5 o'clock, just assume like that's your 8 o'clock. So then I would start everything earlier, right? That doesn't work though, because if I want to watch like Monday Night Football, I'm now watching Monday Night Football at like 1 a.m. my time. See, it doesn't work when you need to work, when you need a structure around everyone else that is doing daylight savings.
No, yeah, I'm just saying though, like, daylight savings doesn't really make sense.
I just don't think
How
I don't
does it
think there's
save
anyone.
energy?
I don't
What
think
saves
there's anyone
energy?
out there that likes it getting dark early. I don't see anyone out
No,
there.
well,
what
I'm confused is like the saving energy thing. How? Because like
no one knows.
you just
That's not a real thing.
that's what Google said.
I don't.
Someone
believe
else
Google.
said that it was a Germany thing from World War I, so they could like do something with saving fuel driving overnight. But like then just start driving. What would it be? What would 5 o'clock be if daylight savings didn't exist? 6 o'clock? Then just like don't drive after 6 o'clock or start driving at 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. Like why do we need to change the time we all go by? Just because of daylight.
Okay, here's what Google says.
Oh, Google says something else
The,
now.
the rationale was to minimize the use of artificial lighting to save fuel for the war effort in World War I.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're like doing.
So they didn't have to use like lamps as much, or whatever.
I don't think anyone understands this. We need to bring someone in.
So daylight savings, we fall back an hour.
We need to bring someone in. Maybe
What?
someone, maybe
How does
someone,
it save energy?
maybe someone will call in tonight and,
My
and
brain hurts.
give us all the details that we need for daylight savings. All I'm gonna say
Okay,
is,
so I
if you
guess it's
like-
because
if
they
you-
were talking morning hours because people were like up and active in the morning earlier back then. So like when you fall back an hour, it makes what would be 8 a.m. when it gets light outside now 7 a.m.
7. Yes.
So you don't have to use as much light in the morning. But my whole thing is you have to use more light at night.
No, because people went to bed earlier.
At 5 o'clock? Were people back then
No.
getting like 14 hours of sleep?
No.
All right, we're moving on.
Yeah, we need to move
I can't handle this anymore. I'm back in studio. I was obviously I was in Phoenix, Scottsdale area. That's an interesting city, by the way, because
Scottsdale?
they are very into like the you wouldn't call them suburbs. I would call them suburbs, but they call them like cities. So you've got like Phoenix, then you got Scottsdale. We were in Glendale. Then there's like Fountain Hills, and then there's this and this, where like, I don't know. For me, like most places I've lived, I've just known them as like Dallas,
Yeah.
Indianapolis,
But
Chicago.
Dallas is like Fort Worth too, right?
No, see, Fort Worth is like another huge city by itself. So like you live in Dallas or you live in Fort Worth. I don't know. I was confused at certain points because people were telling me stuff and I was like, wait, I thought
They're all
I
just
thought it
like
was
right next to each
Phoenix.
other.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm back.
I guess it's kind of like here you have Lynchburg, which like when you tell someone you're from Lynchburg, like you're thinking everywhere from Bedford to almost Madison Heights.
Mm-hmm.
But really like within that you have like Lynchburg City,
Yeah.
Forest,
But I think-
Bedford County.
I think you would know, like if someone says like, hey, blah, 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 you would say Lynchburg. But if you knew they were from the area, you would be more specific.
Yes.
I think over there, the areas are popular enough to where most people
Because I've heard of like Scottsdale, Fountain Hill, stuff like
most
that.
people know that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of wild. But the golf courses over there, incredible. Disc golf courses over there, incredible. All I'll say is I have the golf bug. It's back. We got thrown in a shamble tournament on Friday. We didn't know it was going to be a shamble tournament. We were just told, hey, we got you and Kelsey around at, I'm blanking on the name of the course, Eagle Mountain, which is a beautiful course. So we were just thinking we're going to go do our own thing, go up there, film some Instagram bits and play. And then all of a sudden we're in like a 60 team, not 60, like 20 team tournament. So that got the competitive juices flowing. I ended up playing out of my mind and shooting a 63, where I think if it was my own ball the whole time, I probably would have shot like a 66, 67, which would have been like one of my best rounds ever. I was just playing out of control. And I mean, I love playing when it's hot. I'll say that. Me and Kelsey went out and played 9 today. Very cold, very difficult. You played 9 yesterday. Seemed like you weren't really affected by the coldness, but I will tell you it was cold yesterday as well. And yeah, we got the Break 100 coming soon. If you aren't familiar with that, Hunter and me have kind of gone back and forth on this. And this is probably one of the more heated things we disagree on. I'm still trying to understand. Maybe Silas will have some intel of like, if you actually believe it or if you're just kind of like trying to speak it into existence.
I would never.
Because it feels like this is like one of those things where it's pretty black and white. Like you're not breaking 100 by the end of January. Like it's not even close.
Well, that's just the whole reason this all started.
And this video next week's going to come out and you guys
the video
will
next
see
week is
that it's not
just
close.
lies. It's lies.
No, I mean,
Okay,
it was-
hold on. It's not lies.
it's
Well,
not,
well,
no.
part of it is. Part of it is because something that happened in the video, like it's not going to happen again.
Yeah, but even if it didn't happen again, you guys will see in the video. I just think this is one of the more things that it just
The things I'm bad at in golf are things that I've never done before,
it's just
and I have 2 months to repeatedly do them. The things that I had never done before in our first video that
They're
I was
just
really
stuff
bad at, I took a week at, and now I'm mediocre, and I'm good enough to break 100 with those things.
I know, but I think
Hunter,
the
I
problem.
agree with you.
Yeah.
The problem is I think you're comparing a lot of you're comparing golf and disc golf too much in the sense of like how long it took you to get good at certain areas in disc golf, and you're thinking
No, I'm
that's
not.
how
I've
long.
never once used disc golf as an analogy. Disc golf, I got crazy good, not crazy good.
I know, but
like,
you're saying like all I need to do is learn how to have touch in a month, and it's like
I don't need. But that's the thing is I don't need great touch. I need to break 100. Those are two completely different things.
But you need to be able to not 3-putt every single time you're on a green, which requires some sort of touch, aka speed
not
control.
every single time. Majority, yeah. But to break 100, I don't need that every single time.
You're not going to get into. You're not okay. We'll see.
What happened on hole 1? What happened on hole 1?
We'll see. You 4-putted.
We'll let the video
I did.
decide.
You 4-putted.
Yeah.
You had a
And I
birdie.
double bogeyed.
Yeah, you had a birdie look, and you.
And I can get
double.
9 double bogeys. So I don't have to triple. I don't have to
No, but
3-putt
you need
every
a lot
time.
of you need a lot of bogeys.
I need 9 bogeys and 9 doubles.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Hey, we'll see.
That would put
We'll
you
see
at.
when the video
that would
comes.
That put me at
you
100.
Would it? Put you right at 100, I guess. Right.
So I guess I technically need 10 bogeys and 8 doubles. But
No,
all I'm
yeah,
saying,
I thought you need 10 bogeys and 8 doubles.
that
I
would
bet
put me at
that's what you
99.
need. Yeah, I think that's what you need.
Yeah, that's 99.
We'll see. 5.5 strokes per hole. You got this, Hunter, says Tyler. You got some fans out there. I'm rooting. I'm rooting for him in the sense of like I would love to see him get better at golf because then that brings a whole different element of what we can do in the future at Foundation. You know, because Trevor's already locked in. Like Trevor, I would have no problem having to convince Trevor to go golf at all. And so bringing you into the mix, I think would be great. Kelsey's already locked in. Silas sounds like he's interested to like go out. He's never hit a golf ball to save his life.
Man.
So like that's a whole different. I mean, we can't do 9 holes of the first 9 holes ever for Silas. We could do maybe a video
We
where it's
can
like
take him to
Silas,
the range.
No, I think we do Silas plays his first hole ever.
Yeah.
And like we'll just see if you can complete it in like 20.
20?
I think I'll give you 20
If you've never
shots.
swung in your life, that's fair.
I think I'll give you 20.
Just because like the initial part, like you're
you
not
think
gonna
you're
know where
under
the ball's
20, no
gonna
problem?
go.
You think
I
you're
feel like I'm getting under 20.
Well, the other tough thing is
Want to put a blizzard on it?
You've never hit a golf ball? You're going
Blizzard
under
on it?
20?
the other tough thing is we would do it at Poplar, and the greens at Poplar, like if you hit a ball like you're playing putt putt, you're at least 20 yards past the hole. The balls roll forever.
All right, we got to do it.
Like
We can do it.
it could take him 6 putts.
Now I believe like if you were like, hey, 2 weeks from now,
What?
I need to go do better than a 20 on a hole, and you're like within these 2 weeks you're practicing, yeah, you can
No,
you
for
can do better
sure.
than 20.
Oh,
But if
I'm-
it's like the first time you've ever had a golf club in your
He's
hand,
never swung a club, so that makes me believe like
you're
you
probably
know-
not getting off the tee.
You also know like if you swing and
Alright.
you miss, it counts
Yeah.
as a stroke.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
yeah,
I think I can do under 20.
Because I mean, you might have 3 shots before you even get
How
off
far
the
is
tee.
it?
I mean, the first hole is only like 350. It's not even that hard of a
that's
hole.
one of the easier
It's
holes,
one of the
and
easier
it's a
holes.
par. It's a par 4.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't matter. Par doesn't
No,
matter.
par
for
doesn't
him.
matter if you're trying to get 20.
Yeah,
but
he's trying to get 20.
I was just saying, if we took him to the par 3, I think you'd have a harder time.
Yeah, we're
even
d-
though it's a shorter hole.
We're doing it at Poplar.
Really? All right, let's do it.
So yeah, we'll see. But that's on tap. I mean, we're getting kind of in the golf mode right now, which is weird because this is like the worst time to get into golf because it's freezing cold.
It's not freezing.
It's so cold.
This is Liz. I literally. What's funny is
sub 50 degrees to go
Brody,
play
you
golf.
just wait,
is
man.
cold.
You just wait.
No, I understand. No, I
Liz,
understand.
Liz
It's
got in the
gets
car
worse.
today, and she's like, "Why is it so warm for right now?" I was like, "I don't know. It's
no,
crazy, isn't
hold
it?"
Hold on.
Like tomorrow's gonna be. Let me look at the weather for tomorrow.
Guys, I'm not saying it can't. It's not going to get colder. I understand it will get colder. This is not the coldest
Like,
it will
tomorrow's
be.
high is 48. Like
I'm
we're
saying
talking
less than
almost
50, less than 50 degrees going to play golf is cold.
I might be in
That's
shorts and a t-shirt
cold.
when I play tomorrow.
There
my
was
9
someone
holes.
today in a polo, and I was like, "You're an absolute
I
crazy person."
ran today in shorts and a t-shirt. Nope.
You-
That is
you're
a lie.
running,
I had a light.
but you're
long sleeve.
running. Your heart rate's going up.
But then I came back and I chipped in my backyard for 40 minutes.
But also,
and
when
the same outfit.
But if you're on the driving range, just hitting balls for 15 minutes in a row, yes, you probably will take your sweater off. It's not that cold. But if you're hitting a golf ball and then getting into a cart and driving 45 seconds to go and then hit another golf ball, I'm telling you right now, it got cold.
It's
It got
cold, but here's the thing. I would rather at my skill level, because I don't think the temperature is going to affect how good I swing or don't swing right now. I would rather be playing, and we can actually talk about this with disc golf, because we disagree on this at disc golf, and I can probably talk a lot more of that.
With what?
I would rather be playing this temperature than 95 degrees.
This is
heat.
Silas. Silas, hear this out right here.
Let's hear it.
All right. I said, I think it was 30 degrees is what we said.
30,
and I
yeah.
think 110. Dry heat. Dry heat, 110. So
but
you're
then,
not,
but then you have to
Okay,
say
what about
cold.
cold?
Then you have to say dry cold.
sure, I don't care.
Does
Whatever.
that
Wait,
make it
30.
warmer or wet
wet
cold?
cold.
Wet cold makes
Wet
it
cold.
warmer.
Okay, sure. Wet cold at 30.
Yeah.
Would you rather play
going
disc?
cold.
Would you rather play disc golf 30 wet cold or 110 dry heat?
I'm going cold.
Every
You're going
time.
cold.
I
You're
don't-
going
I don't-
cold.
Here's the thing.
I don't like the heat, man.
You can constantly warm up. I can bring my jackets and stuff like that, and my hands aren't seeing the light of day
No,
until
no,
I'm
no.
about
Yeah,
to
man.
throw.
You
Once
can
your
only shed
hands
so
get-
much.
Once your hands get cold,
My
though,
hands
you're
aren't
done.
going to get cold. You don't. I've played tournaments in 20 degrees with 30-mile-an-hour winds, and I have more fun playing that than 95 degrees here in the humid summer
I just
because you can't shed any more layers. Like you get down to just like if I'm playing a tournament, I'm in a t-shirt and shorts.
yeah,
I
that's
can't
fine.
get colder. My
Oh, you're
hands are
saying-
sweaty. I can't dry them off. My discs are all flimsy.
I'm just saying. I'd much. I mean, there's a reason. There is a reason why people go to the pool and lay out in the summer.
yeah, if
and
I'm
that's
laying
not,
out,
and that's not a thing in the winter. Like people don't go
yeah, I
outside
would
in
rather,
the winter
I'd
and
rather
don't.
lay out in tan in
You
the
have
summer
to-
than the winter.
You have
Because
no.
you're being active.
No, I'm
and
saying you-
because you're taking clothes off to tan. Like, who's
No,
gonna lay in
I'm
the snow
saying-
without a shirt on?
No.
We're not Wim
No,
Hof
my-
and the
my-
friggin' Iceman.
My point is, when it's cold, you have to like do stuff outside to warm up your body, or if you go outside,
like play disc golf.
if you go outside and you just stand, you're absolutely miserable. Like I would much rather go out and stand when it's hot out than when it's cold out. Right? Do you agree with that?
Rather go out and stand.
Like if your job was like a parking attendant and you
Oh,
just
I
had
would
it,
much rather it be 30.
then 110.
Yes. I'm not
Oh my
sweating when it's 30.
gosh.
I'm out there in a parka with hand warmers here, and I'm like, yep.
I don't know. I guess
Like,
it
I'm
just
feeling
depends.
great. I'm feeling
Facts.
great.
I
When
think-
it's
I
have to agree
110,
with that.
I'm like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. I'm
Dude,
getting, I'm
get
getting carried
yourself-
off in a stretcher.
I think it just depends on.
I'm having a heat stroke.
I think it depends on who you are though, because like I do feel like some pools when it's like even when it's like 100 degrees out or 90 degrees out are like very cold for me, and other people are like, oh, this is fine. I think I just get cold very easily. Like,
you,
what do
you
you
were in
like-
Ohio.
like,
though.
what do you
were
like-
were you born and raised? When did you?
I don't think it has.
At what age did you leave Ohio?
I mean, third grade.
Okay, so I think that has a lot to do.
Do
You
you-
went to Florida next,
Do we
right?
think that is why?
I think that's it.
You don't think
Yeah.
it's anything?
No, I think that's
you don't
it.
think it's anything genetics?
No,
Mm.
I don't think it's genetics. I think it's just like
So if I live
just
up
used
in
to the
let's
I
say
think
if
if
I
you-
live up in Canada, for how long do I have to live in Canada for me to start getting used to the cold?
a few years.
If there's a way of
Yeah.
getting used to the cold.
I think a few years.
Okay.
Because I think that's genuinely what it is. Is like, because like my body takes a little bit to adjust from summer to winter. Like if it went from 90 degrees to 30, I would hate it. But when it goes like 90 to 40 to like, or 90 to 60 to 50 to 30, then by the time it gets to 30, I feel great. Like this morning I went to work, it was 25 degrees out or 26 degrees out. And I
That's
was in a
so
I was in a
cold.
light hoodie,
So
a
cold.
hat, and joggers. And it
Man.
didn't feel cold. I just walked outside.
Brodie, you need one of those like heated jackets.
It has to be like we're talking it has to be like in the 20s, or like the highest it's gonna get is like 35 for me to wear a beanie to play.
Do you
disc golf.
ever have you guys ever gone on a plane and felt like you're cold?
on a plane?
If I was just wearing this.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll like have that light light blanket
Yeah.
on.
And you felt cold though? You've gone on a
Yeah,
plane and
I can
felt
feel
cold?
cold. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm saying like to the point where you're like, oh my God, I'm freezing.
No,
You've never gone on a plane and you're like, I'm freezing?
no, like I could sit through a flight in a short sleeve t-shirt and be okay.
Jeez. See, there's so many I've bought 3 hoodies, I think, in airports.
I always travel with a hoodie,
Yeah.
but I've forgotten it once or twice, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, see, I've forgotten it and I've had to buy
Oh,
like
no.
the $45
Well, a hoodie's more
like
comfortable,
I
I will say.
love Arizona.
Easier to go to sleep in.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying just because I know that. Yeah. So I don't know. But that's just me. I don't do cold well. I don't do cold. I'll do hot all day long. If it's 100 degrees, I'll love it. No problem.
I just hate. I think part of it too, though.
You might like Phoenix though, because it's like hot during the day and then it's cold at night and in the morning.
when you
Like
were
desert
when we went
weather, you might
to-
like desert weather. That's like
when we went to
best of
Dallas
both worlds.
it was Waco that we went in the summer, right?
yeah, I love that.
And it was hot. It was pretty hot when we were in Waco, right?
Yeah, I love that.
But it was a very dry heat. And a very dry heat was nowhere like very dry 100 is like Virginia 85.
Oh
Because
yeah,
it gets
dry heat's
so
not bad at all.
like in Virginia, if it hits 90, it's like we're walking in a swimming pool because it's like so humid outside. You walk outside and you're already drenched in sweat.
Do you think offensive linemen are cold?
Nah,
Like when you've watched football when it's like snowing and they have no.
they're less cold than
They're just wearing the sleeveless still.
No, I
they're
think
definitely
they're fine.
less
I think
cold
they're
than
fine.
your like shredded running back.
Okay. Do you think any of them are like, hey, I really would love to put on like a long layer, but everyone's not doing it, so like I have to be like
I
I have
don't
to
think
suck
so.
it up?
I don't think so.
No.
Also, football guys are just a different breed.
Yeah, I mean
I saw someone on Alabama. He was an offensive lineman, lost his helmet, and just kept blocking the dude.
no. There was someone that lost their helmet and then ran 10 yards.
That was the same
into
day.
and like dove in at people.
Yeah, that's
But-
football players
Yeah.
are just different breeds.
Mm.
Have you seen that coach? He was
Disc
Nebraska,
golf's harder than football though.
a Nebraska strength coach.
Oh,
That
headbutts the guy.
yeah, and well, he's also
bleeding?
just wearing just a beanie and then a short sleeve polo, and
yeah.
it's literally like just downpouring snow. But it's the same guy that headbutts people. Yeah, it's that guy.
There's
Oh,
a great.
He's
there's
just crazy.
There's a great Northwestern. I think it's Northwestern that has like their conditioning guy, and no matter what, he's just in a
No,
polo.
That's Northwestern.
Northwestern. He's-
Yeah,
yeah,
I said the wrong team.
Yeah, he's just in a polo, and it's like a size too small. Which
Yeah.
there might not be a size big enough for him, and he's just jacked on the sideline. And you're just like, gosh, that guy could still play probably.
Yeah.
But
Football guys are different breeds.
yeah.
Just built different, man.
They are.
What else is going on? I feel like
There's a lot of like off-season rumors
I
still
feel
happening.
like yeah, I feel like
They're just all swirling. I get new DMs every day of like, oh my gosh, this person's going here,
yeah. What like
and I'm like,
I actually kind of like it because I'm starting to see like people being like, hey, this person's starting to like tweets.
the one I'm hearing,
which is
the
like
one I'm hearing the most is Ricky to DD.
to DD. I've heard that,
But I haven't heard it. I haven't heard it from verified sources.
yeah.
We'll
What are
put
your
it that way.
sources telling you? Where are your sources
I
telling
haven't heard it from verified sources. I've heard it from a lot of like, yo, I got a friend that works at DD. It's definitely happening. But like, I can't trust that. That could be anyone DMing me.
you?
I did get a one today from someone that I do know lives in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, hey, I've heard from some pretty credible people, Dickerson to Discraft. I was like,
That'd be
Interesting.
big.
I forget where I heard that, but I heard it somewhere that I was like, I don't trust that.
It'll be interesting.
And
to
this was a
see-
random person. So again, it's just hard for me to know. Are people just like, hey, Hunter's going to tweet and leak something. Let's make him leak something and look like an idiot.
Yeah. You can't ruin your reputation.
How many?
I also can't risk it on a Ricky or a Chris Dickerson one. I could risk like Gavin Rathbun
Yeah.
and Eric Oakley. Like I could risk it on those because like if they didn't move, not like drastic, but if I tweeted out like Ricky Wysocki 2DD confirmed when I don't have
And
it
then you're
100%,
How-
and you're wrong on that, no one's believing anything I say.
How many? Okay, this is interesting. Someone just said this. Chris is selling a lot of his discs on his Instagram at the moment. Do you read into that? Guys that are like dumping a bunch of like if I just started like selling all my discs, like
When Ricky
hey,
went to
here's this. Who wants it? Like, what is that? Like a sneak peek of like, ooh,
sometimes when Ricky went to Innova, he was doing like an Instagram live before anyone knew where he was going. He might have already left Latitude. I forget exactly what it was. He either had already left Latitude or like the rumors were started like they are right now, where people thought he was leaving. He did an Instagram live, and in the background in his van, you could see an Innova box. And so then like
was
everyone.
that on purpose?
No, I don't think so. Because it didn't. It was very hard to notice, but like there was a solid like 10 or 15 people that screenshot it and then like put that out there, and then those got shared like crazy. So then everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's official! Like he really is going." And then like sure enough, like a month later, it was real. That was pretty crazy. But that's
And
the type of thing that like
it
pros who are a lot on
Like
social media, it's kind of tough because like you have to be. You might just be like for you. Let's say. This isn't a spoiler because you're not, but let's just say that you just got in a shipment of Innova discs for some reason, and like you were like, oh, is he leaving? And then you were doing like a garage putt, and so they're in your garage. You're not thinking about it, and you're just out there like doing your garage putt Q&A. Like I could see a lot of pros that happening, of like Colton Montgomery the other day went live on his Instagram and was just going through his vault. And he had all of his discs in the background. They were all Discmania discs, obviously, because he's with Discmania. But like things like that, where you're like showing stuff to the camera, and you're just not thinking like what's in the background here. To where like that's what happened to Rick, and I think that could happen to a lot of pros, just like not thinking about it, and you just have a box behind you.
Well,
what's gonna be funny is when that happens to someone who's like not actually leaving. Like if
that's
Paul had his old Innova storage box just like in a closet, and so he's just like doing an Instagram live, and just like an Innova logo's behind him, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, he's leaving." He's like, "No, I just was with them for so long. It's behind me."
I think because we kind of tapped into this maybe 2 weeks ago about how like these contracts are just like not real contracts anymore. Like people are just leaving them at any moment, to where now there's like this weird, like you would never you know, the football analogy, right, is like when these coaches announce that they're going to another team, that's the first time that you see them like there in that city or whatever. You would never like see let's just say like the new Jacksonville Jaguars coach, right? You would, before they announce the coach, you would never see like a potential prospect hanging around in Jacksonville for
it's
weeks. Like they announce it and then they show up in Jacksonville. But I think with these contracts, how they work sometimes is they like wait. I mean, heck, the one who was the one that the other person said like goodbye? Was it Matty O? It was Matty O, right? Was that?
Prodigy accidentally leaked it.
Yeah, they basically were like, they're like, hey, thank you so much. It was awesome.
Enjoy your time at Westside.
And they were Westside didn't even announce it yet. So there's like this weird thing of like where players are potentially throwing diss with who their new sponsor is before it's been announced.
Yeah.
So I've seen some of that on social media too, where they're like, hey, I just saw this person. I think that was like the James Conrad thing. People were talking about how they were seeing him throwing MVP diss before the announcement from MVP.
Yeah. Well, that's how the Eric Oakley got leaked.
There's like an interesting...
Eric Oakley went out to film the like Team Infinite announcement post.
Yeah.
And people sent me pictures of him in Utah playing in a Team Infinite shirt.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough.
So like that was...
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
What was I about to say? It was like only other sport I can think of that it happened was when LeBron was, people were like, is he leaving? Is he going to the Lakers? Back then, he like enrolled his kids at a school in LA. Before it was announced.
Really?
And he bought a house in LA. And so like people, like it got leaked, and then like reporters were like, well, you have to remember like these athletes are on the road so much that like if he wanted his kids, he wanted Bronny to go to Sierra Canyon or wherever he's at. And so like if he wants his son to go to Sierra Canyon, it's not uncommon for a pro to buy a house in that area, blah blah blah. But then like 2 months later, he was going to LA. And so it was like when you look back at it, it was like, oh yeah, that was legit.
People got some insider information there.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever really heard.
Did you break that?
Did I break it? I didn't.
You didn't break that?
I didn't break that. No. That would have been a sick one to leak somehow.
Well, we'll see.
LeBron James to LA confirmed. Sources have told me.
We'll see what happens in the next, month or two? There's not really that much time left, right?
Yeah, I mean, we should see the movement. I will say, let me see if I can find this email.
A lot of people are saying Chris to Discraft. I don't know what that, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. That's disc
what
golf.
is what's the information
golf's
there?
So tight knit right now that you don't have to have a like news anchor or like if someone random tweeted Cristiano Ronaldo is going to Manchester United, just someone random and just a soccer fan,
it wouldn't pick up.
It wouldn't pick up steam.
No.
If they post that in a random Reddit thread, it's not picking up steam. Disc golf's still so tight knit that if maybe it's the person who DM'd me puts it on Reddit, like, hey, I heard from or like commented on like a popular Facebook thing, like enough disc golfers are going to see it and then text their friends that like soon enough, most of the people who are like kind of in the circles of disc golf are going to have heard it very quickly, because you don't have to be like an influencer or something in disc golf to get that news to spread quick enough, because it's big enough news.
Yeah, you just get
whereas in other sports, people are like,
people to say it.
In other sports, people are like, oh, just user 14879 tweeted that. Like, we're not believing that, even if it's dead true and he heard it from Cristiano Ronaldo himself. It's just that disc golf's a lot smaller. But I want to read back to the contract thing. I got an interesting email. I won't say who it's from because I don't know if they wanted to stay anonymous or not.
Ooh. Give me some insider emails, please.
Let me make sure this doesn't say who they are.
Can't leak your sources.
No, here you go.
Never leak your
Nah,
sources.
be cool.
It says, hey, Hunter, just listened to your last podcast on player contracts. I can tell you in the negotiations we've been a part of, it would shock you how loosey-goosey some of these player contracts are.
Loosey-goosey.
We have ours drafted by lawyers, and most players, even some agents, have told us it's the first time they've seen a contract that's over a page long. These are some of the top 10 players too. We've encountered many players that just have quote unquote handshake contracts, which obviously aren't contracts at all.
Mm.
And then the rest of the email is what they actually need to email me about. So don't read that part. But
Yeah, don't read that part.
that part's just behind the scenes stuff,
Behind the scenes.
Did
you
but
get...
yeah, I thought that was interesting. They're like their firsthand experience with, and I know I obviously know this company that I'm talking about that sent me that email, and I know the players they're talking about, and like they're not kidding. Like these are some bigger name players in disc golf. And
this is what I kind of discussed at length at some point about where like it's the same thing that happened with social media is when something's very new to both sides, right? To the manufacturers. I mean, heck, how many of these manufacturers have lawyers?
Yeah.
Like, they might be able to reach out to someone to represent them, but how many of them are like have like people on the payroll as a lawyer, a lawyer on retainer? And then how many of these players are deep enough into it where they have a manager, an agent, or someone representing them? It's all very, very new. And this is where like things can kind of get squirrely and it's the same thing. Like for me, for the longest time, I did all my deals and stuff like that by myself, I would try to do my best. And a lot of it was literally just emails, like no contracts, literally them just saying, hey, we'll pay you $20,000 to do this on YouTube. And I was like, all right, sounds good. And then I would do it. And then they would send me the money. And I never had any problems, thank God. But, some of those deals, maybe I could have gotten 30,000. Who knows? I might have gotten underpaid. But the point is, like, at a certain point, it got to where I was like, I need someone to represent me, because it also got difficult to like handle. You don't want to be the person, like, let's say you're the main person at Trilogy, right? And you reach out to me saying, hey, Brodie, we're at Trilogy, we really want to sign you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sweet. And you like offer me, hey, we want to sign you for 5 years for X amount of dollars. And I'm like, okay, now I have to come back and say, hey, you know what? 5 years, let's do this. And I want 5
you
or
have
10,000
to be the person
more.
like setting your worth.
Now there's like a weird dynamic between me and you, kind of going back and forth. If we ever have to, obviously we have to work together. So like now there's kind of this weird thing versus having someone third party come in and
where like if they have an
you.
issue, they're like, I really don't like Brodie's agent, but I don't have anything against Brodie.
Exactly. Like, I hate Brodie. Brodie's agent sucks to work for, but I have nothing against Brodie. It's just, it is what it is. So that's kind of where it is. And Alex, you'd be surprised how much money you can make on YouTube for some of these brand sponsorships. $20,000 is not that much for a YouTube video.
Well, just look at David Dobrik.
What am I looking at?
With like SeatGeek. I mean, the dude's giving away who knows how many Lamborghinis and different cars. Like you think he's not paying for that stuff.
Yeah, when I was doing like the trick shots and stuff like that, I mean, we're talking close to 6 figures for a brand deal, which is just like wacko money.
Well, that's just the future of advertising. Well, not even the future; it's here now.
No, it's here
because bigger companies, it takes them a while to get to that next level. That's why Facebook ads were so cheap for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's because like the Coca-Cola, Pepsi's, and stuff like that, they didn't look at Facebook advertising as a legit thing. So you'd be able to get insane ROI and trackable ROI for like nothing, dirt cheap, because no one was using it. The same thing happened with TikTok ads a little while ago. Although TikTok ads, I feel like kind of suck because like who's watching it?
You're just scrolling right past it.
Yeah, because you just pop up and you're like, oh, it's an ad. Scroll right past it. Although I will say, True Classic Tees, they've ran a TikTok ad on me like 45 times.
And now you're locked in?
I'm not locked in because it's offensive. Because the way they're running it is like, it's like, oh, dude, you don't need to go to the gym to like look good. Just buy this tee. It'll cover your gut. Oh, you feel like you look fat? It'll cover your gut. I'm like, is it just listening to me? Like, how dare you? I hate that. So I'm not buying their tee, but it's effective advertising because like it's made me think about it a number of times. And then I remember what their ad said, and I'm like, no, screw you. I'm not fat. I'm kind of fat.
I'm the one. Just dropped $4.99 in the chat. He says, if Trevor, Connor, Silas, or Hunter were pros, what disc companies do you think they represent? Just based on feeling. All right, let me go.
Oh, heck yeah. We did this segment last week for actual pros. We said, like, what do they represent? But I'm interested to hear you on this.
Yeah, let me go my opinion, I guess. I mean, do people want to hear your opinion too?
Sure, I'll give mine on everyone but me.
But you, and then Silas.
Well, no, I can say what company I'd want to represent the most.
Okay, and then Silas, you can do the same.
Oh, boy.
Everyone but you.
This should be electric.
Or whatever.
Excited.
Yeah.
All right, so I think Trevor. Well, okay, I'll go you. You're easiest. I think you're Innova. I think Silas is Gateway.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh man.
What?
Come on,
Heck
man.
yeah.
What?
You can't.
What's wrong with Gateway?
Nothing, man.
We just placed a decent sized gateway restock.
I'm
today
gonna
'cause
say-
it's flying off the shelf as a Silas.
It's
I'm gonna.
flying.
I mean, Trevor was with Trilogy, but I'm gonna say Trevor to MVP,
Mm.
Dark Horse, and then I'm gonna go even more Dark Horse for Connor. I'm gonna give Connor. It's between two. I'm gonna give him. Let's give Connor Legacy.
Oh, ooh.
Let's give Connor Legacy.
Boy, oh.
Let's give
All right,
Connor
so
Legacy.
starting with me, the company I would want to most represent would be Innova, just because, like,
Yeah, I called that.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that's the company that fits me feel wise the most, but I'm an Innova simp. There's no way around it. I love everything about Innova.
He
I
just
can't.
bought FDs.
Yeah, well, no,
You literally just bought Innovidisc
I just spent like
2 minutes
50
before
bucks.
this. 2 minutes before this.
There's just something about it. It's nostalgia, really. It's just what I learned to play disc golf with, so I want to go back
Yeah,
to
it's
it
fine, dude.
always. Because
It is
yeah.
what it is.
Connor. No, I'll save Connor for last. Trevor's tough. Trying to think of like Trevor feelings, and then like
Someone said
Trevor.
Prodigy.
I think Trevor would be Discmania.
He would love that.
I don't know why.
He would love that.
I'm just going off of feel alone. I think I could feel Trevor with Discmania. He feels like he has that kind of like walks in the room and you're like, oh frick, like that's a Discmania guy right there. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about like Discmania players. Is like they all walk in, they just have like this swagger to them. And so
yeah, Kyle Klein, swagger. I completely agree.
Well, not like they're walking with swagger. It's just like when they walk into a room, like I can see a Discmania
Simon,
player.
super swag.
I think I'm thinking more European.
Super swag. Yeah. Who's on their team? Who's on their team that's swagger? That has swag. None of those people I think have swag.
No, not natural, like not that type of swagger. It's just like when they walk into a room, you're like, oh, that's a Discmania player. Like you just know it. I feel like if Trevor walked in as a Discmania, Trevor's like a Finnish Discmania player.
I don't know what your argument
Like
is.
I'll find
dude,
a.
on to the next one.
Okay.
I don't think you know what swag means.
No, not that type of swagger. Not you're like it's like they have the Discmania swagger.
What is the Discmania swagger?
I mean, can you put words to what swagger is in general? It's just like
yeah,
a
someone
thing
that
that's
comes in that has an extreme amount of confidence.
yeah, like
There you
Discmania.
go.
They have perfect. They have an extreme amount of like disc golf confidence.
Okay.
That's like the Discmania.
But
swagger.
I don't think they're walking into a room looking and that like comes out when they walk into a room.
Maybe when it's on a course.
Okay, there you go.
Maybe that's what I'm going for. Just like when I see,
Someone said Hunter is saying that demand your attention.
yeah, perfect.
Oh, also, just someone did mention the Gator shirt. I had to wear this just because of the absolute murdering that happened. There was a murder. The Gators got murdered, and I thought they were going to be a good basketball team this year. I was excited, and then they were
tough.
20. I think they were a 22 point favorite to JMU, and they lost outright.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So I mean,
All right, so
Florida will beat Duke though in March Madness.
not a chance. Florida might not even make it to March Madness if they just lost to JMU.
That's actually very true. It's actually very sad.
Silas.
I think Gateway's a perfect pick.
No,
It doesn't get better.
man, Silas.
I'll say the Wizard feels pretty good.
Silas, I'm going Prodigy. No, Silas is a mixed bag EV7 player.
Ooh.
That's what Silas is. Silas is a mixed
EV7.
bag EV7 Pro. That's what Silas is. All right, Connor's Gateway.
Okay.
Connor just fits. Sorry, Connor.
Is
I
he just
know-
throwing all hemp discs?
No. He just like. I feel like Gateway.
Got that
Gateway.
organic hemp blend.
straight
Here's my hot take on Gateway. All right, Gateway as of right now is
Is the
like that.
future?
Like no,
Oh,
not the
okay.
future, but it's the future hipster brand. Like when hipsters get into disc golf, I feel like they're gonna see Gateway as
I
like
feel like hipsters are already into disc golf.
somewhat.
I feel like most disc golfers are
No.
hipsters.
No,
No?
true hipsters.
What's-
Like
what's-
specialty
what's the
specialty
true-
coffee drinking hipsters. No, they're not into disc golf yet. They're
Those
getting
people
into
are gonna
disc
be
golf.
into disc golf?
They're getting into it now because
They're getting
it
there.
matches the like outdoors hiking vibe.
Oh.
So I think
I
as
would
they
consider most. Well, maybe I wouldn't say
okay,
hipsters.
your
like
average disc golfer
I'm
is
thinking-
a
I think
just
I'm-
35-year-old
hipster.
dad. 35-year-olds 9 times out of 10 aren't hipsters.
Oh, I'm confusing hippies and hipsters.
Yes.
I might be.
Hipsters
Yeah,
are like
I
the
might
new
be.
hippies.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's what I'm saying, like-
I was doing the same.
I
thing.
was doing the same
No,
thing. Yeah.
hipsters like
Yeah. No, I'm
skinny jean wearing like
okay. Yeah. No, these are not skinny. These are. I'm thinking of like cargo shorts.
Connor in and of himself is not a hipster, but Connor's like style is hipster.
Connor's very
Yes.
hipster. Yeah.
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 So I'm thinking like I think when hipsters are like getting into disc golf, I think they're gonna see
Gosh,
Gateway.
Can we do that skinny jeans challenge
Heck yeah.
for disc golf?
I think the Gateway is gonna seem like that like vintage, like, oh yeah, I'm throwing Gateway before it's cool brand.
Okay.
So I think Connor's
All right, Silas, give us
Connor's
your.
Gateway.
Did you say
give us-
Brody?
Give us your
No,
pick.
well,
You
Brody's
can't-
discraft.
Yeah, you can't say.
Okay,
It's tough
okay.
for Brody just because like he's only ever thrown discraft. So
Oh,
like,
I only
you can't,
know.
Okay, I'll start with Connor.
you can't
Oh,
really
no,
envision
man.
something outside of it.
All right, Connor. This one had some thought. Connor's going to Cast Blast,
Oh,
Ooh.
the real
Okay.
hipster
okay.
brand.
That would probably be a more hipster brand. I should have thought of it. Good job, Silas. That's a good pick.
Okay, and then we have. I'm gonna go you at Innova,
Okay, nice.
and then I'm gonna go Trevor.
Trevor's the toughest one, I think.
I don't think there's any gateway hate.
I'm going.
I think it's just like a dark horse brand.
No, I love Gateway.
Trevor is going
Trevor
to.
literally putts with
Trevor's
Gateway.
going to Prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Trevor's been with Prodigy before.
Yeah, I could see that.
As-
and then,
as have
and
I.
then you're with Innova.
yeah. You Innova is like the easiest one.
I
You're-
think
you and
Gateway-
Innova, man.
I think Gateway makes the best putters on the market. Their mid and fairways, I haven't thrown enough. The Element's kind of sick. I used to throw that.
Yeah.
I want to try out. What is it? Is it the Assassin that just came in? There's some disc that came in that feels good as a fairway driver, but I haven't given much other than
Assassin's
putters.
a cool
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
I
think
used
it's
to
the
putt with.
Assassin.
I
We
used
just
to
got those.
do my normal putts with a PA3, and then I jump putted with a Voodoo because it was just like, I might actually need to go back to that. That was sick. It was laser straight from outside the circle. Like if it started height of the basket flat, it was going in every time.
Mm.
It was great.
That was good. That was a good little topic.
Yeah,
That
I
was
like
a good
that.
topic.
That got us somewhere. I appreciate that.
I don't know where
It-
we're at, but we're somewhere.
No, I know. This is like a kind of a weird part of the season. I mean, it's the off season, obviously, but like this is like a weird part of
This
like,
is the slowest part of the offseason typically.
it's difficult because when the off season hits, because there isn't really that much of an off season for golf.
Yeah.
There really isn't. Like there are still like some. They just had the Hero happen. They still have like some smaller tournaments going on. But like really like at the end of October, I mean it like shuts down. Like
In disc
guys,
golf?
because people are playing like A tiers and stuff, but no one really cares. Like, do
Yeah.
you care? Do you care? I mean, I like Thomas Gilbert, big Thomas Gilbert fan. But do you care that he just won the Chain Hawk Open down in Gainesville?
Didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, I don't care at all.
Mm-mm.
I don't think anyone cares other than Thomas.
Well, I think that's what the Pro
It's
Tour
good for Thomas.
the Pro Tour is trying to start doing, like with the Silver Series next year, going to carry on into December almost.
Mm.
To where like if it was a Silver Series event, then people are talking about it and carrying.
The thing is, though, is they have to really do like Southern. You can't be having people play tournaments when it's 30 degrees out. We've already discussed this. You can't do it.
No,
You
yeah,
can't
I
do
think
it.
a
It's
lot
gotta
of
be-
players.
It's got to be in the South.
I think the players, but you can do the South, like
Yeah, it's got to be in the South.
Florida. I mean,
I
you
think
can
it'd be
go-
sick. I think it'd be sick if like October to February ish. What is that? October, November, December, January, February. 5 months. If like 5 months was like, I mean, you could even push into March a little bit if you wanted to, but like that, if that was like the secondary tour, like the tour that got you on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, if that was being run during that, then you could have like stuff all year round. That could be really fun. Because then you could see like the future, or if see that's what I think needs to happen.
college disc golf.
I think college disc golf needs to get bigger.
Yeah.
So then there's like more stuff because
College
college
disc
disc golf's happening right now, right?
well,
Kind
it's
of?
on a break. That's the tough part. Is Christmas break and exams eat up from basically the week after Thanksgiving till begin like mid-January.
Okay, so there
So
is
you
a
have
lit-
this like month, but college disc golf goes from August to April.
Yeah, so you got like, January and February, you got stuff going on. So,
Yeah,
but again, like, do people care about college disc golf right now?
Not yet.
No.
Not
Can
yet.
we get people to care about it? Maybe. I don't know.
I think we need a few more big name schools to get in, just because like the number one school in the country right now is UNC Charlotte
Mm-hmm.
by ratings, by everything. Number 2 is Liberty. The only like big name school that, like, Texas A&M is good, but I don't consider them like a big name. But like Clemson, big name school.
Mhm.
Alabama's had a team. I don't remember if they've ever been really good. The best like dynasty team was Ferris State, which is a community college.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you were having like Duke and you were having like blanking on a bunch of names, Alabama, LSU,
Well, I think all that.
Oklahoma.
I think all you really need, you just need.
or like if I'm a Duke fan and I see, oh, Duke has a disc golf team and they're playing,
I
I'm
think
caring more. I am
think,
a Duke fan.
I think
I would
you
care more.
need. I think you need like a, not a blueprint, but like a past history of like players coming up through disc golf in college.
Aaron
So-
Gossage was a collegiate disc golfer.
No, but I'm saying like to the point of where they're big, and I think you need a lot more than currently one. You just name one person.
Well, you didn't let me keep naming them.
Okay, keep going.
I'm have to
Well,
keep
you're
thinking.
not going to college for disc golf.
No, that's a side. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're good enough to make it. Well, I think when the tour gets more deep, right? There's better players on the tour from top to bottom, to where now, if you, let's say that you were kind of thinking about going, like you were kind of on the fringe of being able to get on tour potentially, you might just go to college, get a degree, get better at disc golf, and then come out and play. Where right now, I mean, you're seeing like 18, 19-year-olds be able to jump on tour and be
16-year-old
competitive.
Gannon Burr.
16-year-olds, yeah. Which is true for, a lot of other sports as well. But I think the tour will eventually, as all these kids right now that are getting better, as they get older, they'll round out the tour to where now, it'll be very, very few people coming out of high school, let's say, that are good enough to start touring.
Yeah.
And so then they basically will go to college, get a degree, get something that they could potentially fall back on if
Yeah.
they need to, and then try to make the tour. Where right now it's like, I mean, anyone can like sign up pretty much for a disc golf pro tour event.
Yeah.
And if they get on there and they do well, then it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
I think
okay,
there's just
what
not
the
a
heck?
lot of like, as of right now, there's not a lot of notoriety of like someone brought up a great point. Raven Newsom played for NC State. I
Mhm.
played against him 2 years.
Yeah.
My last 2 years of college. Played against Raven Newsom. Grady Shue was there at UNC Charlotte my freshman year.
Mhm.
James Proctor won nationals, I believe, the year before I came. I believe Aaron Gossage, like I said, I think he played for like Oregon State or something.
I think there just needs to be more time. There needs to be more
But
time.
they're also like the media needs to focus on it, not necessarily the collegiate disc golf itself, but like you don't need to have like a media teams covering college disc golf tournaments every weekend.
No.
But we try to on Grip Locked at least like
At least the
talk
big
about
event.
it.
The big event.
But the big event and then the college disc golf social media itself needs to do a better job of like covering what's going on, because we're trying to cover it as a
Third
podcast.
party, like in the past, yeah.
And the only way we can do so is if the teams upload the results and they're accurate to the PDGA. And then we're looking at it and it's like the way the collegiate format is, it's kind of hard to know like stand out. Sometimes the players are put in and they're not linked to a team. So if you don't know the team's roster, you'll see like Brandon Robertson shred a tournament and you'll be looking at it. And like if I didn't know he went to UNC Charlotte or goes to, he's still there, then I'd be looking at it like, okay, this guy shredded, but like what team did he just shred for? That means nothing to me.
Yeah.
And so all I know is UNC Charlotte won. Brandon Robertson might have played for him, but with how much of a team sport college disc golf is, like the guy can win a tournament and the other three players did awful and they didn't win the overall tournament.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of things that need to be done, but I definitely think like media, like it would be kind of cool if like when Raven Newsom's brought up, if someone was like, yeah, and at NC State, he actually had a really successful college disc golf career. Like that's a cool little fact to throw in there. Like talk about it all the time with other sports. I think that's something that disc golfers watching the Pro Tour would be interested in.
Know where people played from.
Yeah, or at least just hear like, oh wow, he was an All-American in college disc golf.
We got a super chat that we missed.
Yeah, I saw it a while back.
Alan with the fiver says, should disc golf do a manufacturer cup, a 4-man team, single and doubles, similar to the Ryder Cup? So let's just say Ryder Cup kind of, I mean, that the only thing is like the reason why I think the Ryder Cup's so good is it's because it's USA versus
Well, that's what the President's
Europe.
Cup. We just need the President's Cup to come back, which it probably will this year with the European Open.
I think you could do like a fun like charity event if you want to do that with like the manufacturers thing. It could be like a fun charity thing of where it's like Team Discraft versus Team Innova versus Team whatever, and you could have like a bracket or something, and you could do that. That could be fun. I've seen that in like other sports. It doesn't do that well because those end up turning into kind of just like a marketing fest of where the companies are all just trying to shove their products down their throat. So I don't know. I think you could, if it was done by like maybe the Disc Golf Pro Tour or by like someone outside of like people directly involved with the manufacturers.
Yeah.
Then I think it could kind of be cool. Because then you would have like, you know, Paul and Adam team up versus Simon and Eagle versus
I think it's a really cool
Ricky and Calvin and
YouTube
stuff.
video idea.
Yeah.
I
don't know if you could go. We could do that. I mean, that could be a fun, like, I think that'd be, like you said, that'd be a really fun video for us to do, to have, we would have 8 guys, right?
Yeah.
8 guys going 2-2-2-2, something like that. And you just play like. I mean, you have to do it on the other thing.
I know Ultiworld does. They
like
do like
you can do alt shot. I mean,
Ultiworld does like a season long. I forget what they call it, but they give basically each manufacturer points based on how their team finish at like Elite Series events, and then they have like who won. They might call it the Manufacturers Cup. Ultiworld does an article like throughout the year, but that's the closest thing we have. I mean, it's a cool idea. But I would like to see the President's Cup, which is what we called it.
Yeah, that's what
I'd like to
want.
see that ironed out. And, like, I'm curious once it comes back, like, hopefully it comes back this year. I don't know if that's the plan or not, how much more hype is around it. Because, like, when it happened last, like, it was a cool thing, and we all heard about it, and, like, pros posted about it on social media, but it wasn't, like, a crazy hyped up thing.
Well, it's you gotta start creating the history. You gotta start creating to where the fans really, really matter because – little insider knowledge, when Europe lost this past Ryder Cup, there were guys that were like crying back like in the hotel rooms and like basically like super like they let their team down.
Yeah.
Right. And you wouldn't see that. I don't think you would see that right now in the President's Cup. Just because, like you said, like the history hasn't been there.
It's not there. It hasn't built up.
Yeah. And so I think the only way you can do that is like you got to start doing it. You got to start get it going now, especially if you can start bouncing it back between USA, Europe, and have good crowds show up and stuff. And then the trash talking gets going and with the fans and all that. And like you start really seeing how badly people want the cup to come back. I don't know. I think that would be awesome to see. I would love to just attend and watch. I mean, obviously it'd be sick to be able to play, but
they've also only, in my mind, I could be wrong here, they've only ever done it in Europe, just because when the European Open would happen, the top players in the U.S. would already come over, and it was hard to find a time back in the day when all the top players from Europe were in the U.S.
Oh, gotcha.
But nowadays, that's not a hard thing.
No.
Well, once COVID restrictions lift and stuff like that, hopefully this year's like Worlds, it's not going to be a hard thing.
Yeah.
To where it'd be cool to have it like rotate. So like this year it's in the U.S., next year it's in Europe. This year, I think that'd be cool. I also want the Australian Open back, but that's a completely separate thing.
I love Australia. It's good. All right, let's take some calls. Let's bring in some people. We'll see if anyone jumps on here. I mean, it's been a hot minute since we really had someone come on and like contest us about anything. Mostly we've been getting questions from a lot of you guys, which we appreciate. Like, it's not a problem. Like, and you know, we do have a Patreon only podcast now that we basically do a Q&A. So we have, you know, you guys submit questions and then we basically answer them for you. So that's a good place to kind of get a better one-on-one with, you know, a specific question. You know, if it's a good question, we'll answer it real quick, but we are looking for people that maybe disagree with us on certain topics. The Disc Golf Pro Tour obviously posted something about me, which is always going to cause controversy and stir up. I mean, I don't even have to do anything anymore. Someone else posts something, and all of a sudden, people just start going nuts. So there were some people saying some stupid stuff in the comments there that made me giggle a little bit and laugh. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if anyone actually calls in. We'll see what's up.
We got someone?
Yeah, we got someone.
Oh, okay. What's the number, Silas, real quick?
You put it up?
I put it up. It's 434-218-3602.
Boom. Call in. We got someone on the call. Hello.
Hello.
How's it
Can
going?
you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. What's good?
Sweet. What's up, man? My name's Brian. Checking in from South Carolina.
Okay, very nice.
Go Gamecocks. No shade at the Gators.
No, that's fine, man.
I got a quick little hot take for you.
All right.
I'm thinking that the future of disc golf is headed towards the upstate of South Carolina, actually, and I'm going to tell you why. Micah Gross, Evan Scott are both from the upstate of South Carolina. All the disc golf courses and stuff around here. What you think about that?
Are you,
what do you think?
you're saying like the future as in like those two players? Well, who was the first
Top
player you said?
competitors, yeah.
Micah Groff.
Micah Gross. They both won the
Oh, he
Amworld
won the Amworlds. That's
back-to-back
right.
years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. I believe I played with Evan Scott, right?
Yeah,
He
at
was at-
Battle for Bedford.
Yeah.
They were both at Battle for Bedford, actually.
I didn't play with Micah. I played with Evan. Kids got crazy amounts of talent for sure. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously I haven't been in disc golf long enough to kind of see like if players like phase out, because that happens all the time in other sports where you see someone that's in high school have incredible talent and then it just never pans out for them. I don't know. I don't see that happening. Golf, same way. Tons of kids have incredible golf talent and then they just never turn out into anything. I don't see that happening in disc golf right now just because the barrier of entry is like nothing. So it's like for him to go for Evan, for example, to go and like if he wanted to, he could start touring full time next year. There's nothing stopping him from basically playing every tournament. And all he needs to do is finish a couple good tournaments and he's set. Sometimes in these other sports, like it takes a while. And then you also like golf, you have to you could be really, really good and just never get that opportunity to like actually make it through, if that makes sense. And then you eventually like after 4 or 5 years of trying, you're like, I got to get a real job. And then you're out. Where disc golf, it's like, if he really wanted to, we were talking about this earlier, disc golf is set up in a way to where if you really don't care about your lifestyle, you can go tour full time and make enough money to pay your bills. If you don't care about your lifestyle, if you don't have a family, kids, anything like that, you don't have a house, you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to do any of that, right? You can, if you're good enough, which right now you don't even have to be necessarily that good, you can go full-time tour and make enough money to just like pay the gas, pay what you need to eat, sleep in your car, good to go. So I'm curious. I don't know if you've seen players that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the next guy that's going to be legit. And then they just like never become anything. But I don't.
Most of the time, it doesn't necessarily happen because in disc golf up to this point, because they've just like never been able to get good enough. But a lot of times it's been like, I can't even say a lot of times. The one specific I'm thinking of.
Evan Scott's good enough right now to compete.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it hasn't happened to the point of like Evan Scott just like this is his peak and he for some reason just never gets good enough to like win a world or something. It's more so happened like James Proctor, where he was insane. He was he still is very, very good, but he just loved something else more. He loves his job.
Because the money's not there.
Not even necessarily the money. Like he just I think he's a special ed teacher and he just loves that. To where like I don't know how much money or if there is an amount of money of like I love disc golf more.
I feel like when I talked to him, he was pretty much like if the money was there, he would full time.
That could be true. That's probably true for even more players of like they're great local pros.
It's the whole lifestyle, right? Like if you want to live in your car, eat whatever meals like out of cans and stuff, right? And then just like pay gas week to week, you can do that. and hopefully eventually make it to where you're not doing that and you're making some sort of money, right? But there's a lot of people that don't want to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so they maybe in their mind, they're like, I'm going to go to a couple tournaments. And if they just don't play well in those couple tournaments, and like you said, they just kind of like go back to their other full-time job or whatever.
Now,
but,
as for the location, as far as like, what'd you say, Upper South Carolina?
Yeah, he's saying that's the
South
future.
Carolina.
So basically like Rock Hill, Charlotte area.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's hard for. Only thing I would say about that area is it's so developed with disc golf, and there's so much disc golf history that I don't know if I'd call it the future, simply because it's been such a large part of the past that like it's hard. In my head, I think there's just like other parts of the country where like disc golf is really like, for instance, Illinois, where there's like crazy courses that are going in right now that are built for today's game, that are just like Northwoods Black, that you don't know what that's going to be able to produce out of a player. Because like y'all have like Remy Gold, Renaissance Gold, R.L. Smith, Hornets Nest, like some good championship caliber, but it's like a different type of championship caliber than what's on tour now, to where I'm interested what 5-10 years from now courses that are going in right now that are like the future tour championship caliber, and then you have 16-year-olds playing that week in and week out, what that's going to produce.
It's so interesting because it does matter. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm up here, right? Is to be able to practice on some high level wooded courses, because if you don't have those courses available for you to practice, you're just never going to get good in those situations.
Yeah, you're going to get in the woods and not know what to do.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you have to like
South
live.
Carolina and North Carolina won't have that problem.
Yeah, it's crazy you have to live in certain areas, to be able to like practice for your sport. But
would you say for that instance, would you say it's more beneficial to definitely be in the wooded courses?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then branch out to, more open courses?
Well, open courses, you can just learn all that stuff. You can make those holes by yourself in fields, right?
Yeah.
So you can set, okay, I'm on a football field. I need to throw this hyzer, and I'm just gonna say like from this yard line to this yard line is out of bounds, and I gotta like throw it in. Like you can set all those scenarios. It's very hard if you don't have a wooded course. And trust me, I tried to like set up like a 400-foot wooded type hole. If you don't have it, you don't have it. So, I think if you're trying to get well developed, both sides, woods and open, you got to go somewhere that has wooded courses.
Yeah. Well, also, if you're playing everything in the woods and then you get to an open course, it's going to just feel kind of easy because you're like, oh my word, I don't have to hit a line.
Bro,
But
wait until you see these videos of me playing in Phoenix. It was night and day.
Oh, like skill, like how much better you're playing?
Yeah.
Well, because then when you flip flop,
you're just throwing huge highs.
if all you'd ever played was wide open courses and then you get thrown into tight woods,
night,
you're like,
gone.
what on earth? But like, you can know what your disc is going to do and how to like bend it and shape it, and that doesn't change magically when you're in the open.
Yeah.
You're still going to need to shape shots.
Very true.
So I think there's a huge advantage learning to play in the woods versus playing in the open.
Very true.
Sweet. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Have a
absolutely.
nice night.
See you, man.
I think one of the biggest advantages the open gives over the woods is just
Power.
being used to wind.
Oh, I was gonna say power.
But you can develop.
You learn to throw farther.
That's the thing is as long as you have a field, you can learn wind and power.
If you go to the field, for
you
sure.
can't just make woods appear.
No, it's true. I wish.
We have another caller.
I wish it
guys.
was like Minecraft. Hello.
Hey, this is Nick from Asheville, North Carolina. What's up, guys?
What's good? What's good?
Brody, I actually met you at a Ultimate Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida, like
Oh, that was
10
a
years ago.
long time ago. Heck yeah.
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 Well, hey guys, a couple things. First of all, I guess my hot take to get things started is just talking about mystery boxes, the big thing going on right now.
Ooh.
Some people are doing them right, some people not so much. Is it just a way to clear out old inventory and maybe throw one hype disc in there, or what?
Mystery boxes in general.
I've seen the feedback about the foundation ones. I didn't get yours. The Golden Goose was super sick. There were like those cool misprint discs in there, but it seemed I saw, a lot of nomads, and I don't want to come after you guys because I love you guys. I just, just kind of seeing your take on it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a cool way to get some discs, but for like collectors and stuff like that,
I think for us at
was it worth it?
least, and I think for a lot of companies, it's a reflection of inventory to a certain point, to where it's not necessarily like getting rid of bad movers or slow movers, but to some people, the Nomad would be the sickest disc they could get, and to other people, they get a Nomad and they're like, oh my gosh, this sucks. So like that's the whole draw of a mystery box, is you don't know what you're going to get. And so for us, we have a lot of Nomads, and so therefore our mystery boxes have a lot of Nomads. We can't put discs in we don't have, and so like I think that was where it's mystery boxes are always interesting, just because, like I said, like each player is different. So some people might freak out over getting Judge. They might love the Judge. Other people might get the Judge and be like, this sucks. Some people might get the Luna and be like, heck yeah, I really wanted a Luna. Other people might get a Luna and be like, that sucked. I wish it had this in it.
This is what I think of mystery boxes. I think, one, it forces some people to try discs that they would never try, which I think is a cool thing, right? But then the other thing is, obviously we learned a lot of stuff. This was really the first year that we did mystery boxes, and we obviously had some really cool, we had a bunch of like misprint TI Undertakers that didn't go out to anyone. The only way of getting them was in a mystery box. Same thing with the Rocket Roaches. Some of them were really cool, like double stamped, that were like outlined. Those were sick. But I think what we're going to do in the future is have like specific discs that are just for the mystery boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that we had it right now is like every mystery box ended up having like one cool like limited edition disc.
Yeah.
But it was like discs that were kind of already kind of give, like some of them were like photon zones, right? So you could theoretically already have gotten that photon zone, could have bought it when that first came out, right?
Yeah, and then it comes in and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah, you got it. So I think what we're going to do, and hopefully this is something that obviously the manufacturers can help us with, because again, we're kind of at their mercy, is have certain discs that the only way that you can get them is in a mystery box at the end of, at the end of the year, basically, and have like 2 or 3, maybe probably 3 sounds good. And so that you're going to get one of those 3 in each mystery box. And then, like I said, the other thing with the discs that you're getting, the idea is we're hopefully giving you discs at obviously a discounted price, because ours was $50 for 4 discs. So that was $12 a disc, which is on average like what, $3 cheaper, $3 or $4 off each disc, roughly.
I don't know what
on
Mad News
average.
did, but yeah, there was a
Something like
discount
that.
across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, discount each disc. So the idea was like, I think that if we did that next year, I think the people that Hunter was talking about, where it's like you get a photon zone, and to some people they'd be like, sick, these sold out and I never got a chance to buy them. And other people are like, I already have 3 of these, I don't really want another one. I think that would alleviate that problem, and then potentially give people discs that they never thought of even trying.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to play devil's advocate a little bit and just kind of hear your guys' thoughts on that one.
I understand what
I
you're
know that
saying.
it's been a discussion you guys have definitely had, I'm sure, recently. And I thought they were pretty awesome. I didn't end up getting one because I missed it. But the other thing I wanted to ask you, Brodie, and this is something that I talked to you about like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I come from Ultimate as well, and just for context on the last thing, I work at a retailer too, so I appreciate what you guys were doing with that, and I think it was a really cool thing to do, and I'm sure you learned a lot, and it'll be even more hype next time. But so I come from Ultimate as well, Brodie, and I throw a lot of scoobers, tomahawks, and I guess a scoober is just a tomahawk that goes, horizontal. I guess everyone says something different, but I throw like a old neutral Ching disc that's like understable, so mid-range. It's got the divots in the top. I know a lot of people throw overstable discs. I just kind of wanted to see like what was your thoughts on like disc selection. I use mine more as like a get out of jail free. I try to have it hit the ground before it cuts back left. You know what I mean? So it doesn't get the full flight out of it and just kind of lands flat and skids in.
Yep.
I know that's not really a thing that most people do. It's kind of odd. I use it more tomahawks. I just kind of want to see your thoughts on that. I know it's kind of open-ended, but you're the scuba guy. So
yeah, I mean, I love the scuba. I think the scuba is super valuable in lots of different scenarios. The hammer, tomahawk hammer, however you want to say it, It obviously comes in with a lot more heat, a lot more power. I will say it is kind of interesting because like if you only could throw an ultimate disc, for example, right? The hammer, I would almost throw, like if disc golf was only allowed to use an ultimate disc, I would probably throw the hammer as an upshot more than any other throw. Mainly because I can control that coming down at a certain point, and when it hits the ground, it's basically just like staying at that spot. Where if you're throwing a backhand or a forehand, you're now having to try to have the glide of the disc land at a certain spot, and that's a lot harder. The problem is, the reason why you don't see me throwing hammers or tomahawks that much in like an open field as an approach shot is because you have an overstable disc. So you have a disc that basically allows you to throw a backhand or a forehand that wants to get to the ground. And I just think throwing like a spike, kind of like a hyzery forehand with a zone and having it drop in is going to be a disc that you're going to be able to replicate a lot more than having to throw a hammer or tomahawk. That's why
Interesting.
I
But
don't.
I appreciate your take on it, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course, man. And I appreciate you calling in.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys.
All
Have a
right,
great
take it
night.
easy.
Appreciate you having me on.
Someone said earlier before we take another call, they said, I find it troubling that 99% of the conversation is male players. So I'm guess talking about
MPO.
The FPO is important. Kristen Tatar contract is big. So this is kind of an interesting thing moving forward is, again, it kind of goes back to how like you were talking about how disc golf is kind of like small right now. And, you know, someone says something and all of a sudden it gets spread as a rumor. It's kind of like that same thing where it's small to where people, when they're like, hey, you have a disc golf show, you need to talk about all things disc golf. And I don't necessarily agree with that take. Some people might disagree with me. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that if you want to talk about disc golf, you are forced to talk about the entire landscape of disc golf. We rarely ever really even talk about amateurs, right? We don't really talk about. That was the first time I think when he brought up Micah Groth. That was like the first time we probably even talked about an amateur tournament or something at length, and it wasn't even that long. I just think it's interesting because you don't see it in other sports, right? If there's a podcast about golf and they want to talk about the PGA Tour, they talk about the PGA Tour.
Sure.
If it's a podcast about golf and they want to talk about the LPGA Tour, they talk about that.
Well, exactly. That's
there's
the difference.
There's tons of podcasts that talk about the NBA and don't ever mention the WNBA at all. And so right now it's it's this idea of where
I would say that's the difference though, is we don't have a LDGPT. So right now, if you talk about Idlewild, you're talking about the same exact event. Both FPO and MPO played the event.
I see what you're
now,
saying.
I agree when we're talking like stats and someone says like who's the best putter or whatever, like in my head, I'm immediately going MPO because that's what I relate to the most. If we had Hannah Macbeth sitting here, she'd immediately go FPO because that's who she relates to the most. So on that side, like, sure, that's, I guess, what you're more saying of like, if someone asks a debate topic or we talk about changes to the Pro Tour,
I'm going to talk about stuff I know.
We're talking about stuff you know, sure.
Yes.
When we're talking results, like, I think that's more where Grip Lock plays in.
Like, you guys cover everything.
You cover because it's right now it's the same tour in the same sport. When a split eventually happens, then yeah, we'll have to have an LDGPT tour or whatever they end up calling maybe the LPDGA, whatever it ends up being for the FPO side, and then a male side because they'll be at different tournaments. And so MPO will be at Idlewild this week, and FPO will be at Ledgestone. And it's like you can't cover both tournaments at the same time. Like that's impossible. But when they're all together and they're all there, I mean, that's the whole point of them being together is so that media talks about them both, coverage is about them both, fans get to watch them both because that's how the FPO side's going to grow.
And we talked about when Kristen signed that big deal. We talked about that big deal. If a big FPO player switches manufacturers,
like when Paige switched
we'll talk about that.
We talked about it on Grip Locked for.
I'm just not
going. Long time.
I'm not going to relate to FPO more than I relate to the MPO.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is right now. I haven't heard an FPO rumor as far as trades go. So if we're talking specifically about the trades, like if I would have heard about the Kristen Tatar thing before it happened, yeah, that's a very big storyline.
Yeah.
Why would I not bring that up?
I just don't know if like people need to. I don't want to.
I don't think if a podcast goes on,
this podcast will never turn into something of where we are feeling like we're pressured to cover
No,
something.
exactly. If there's
It should
something
be
to,
stuff that we want to talk about.
if there's something to cover, we cover it.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Is if when the Kristen Tatar deal happened, we talked about it because like that's something that happened in disc golf and it's covered. But like this week, nothing has happened in disc golf that I'm aware of. So like we can't
Heck,
we
people
can't
can
cover
I
nothing.
mean, if someone wants to call in and
Ask an
and
FPO
ask
question.
an FPO question.
That happened
Alright.
last week.
Let's
we got
go.
a caller.
We got a caller.
We got a caller.
Silas, let's keep it moving. Hello, hello. I can hear myself in the
on?
background. Yes, you're on.
Wild. Well, like I got on before the FBO questions, so now I feel like kind of dirty.
Oh gosh.
But first off, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. The mystery box from Foundation was super dope, and I think the disconnect there is like I'm a thrower, so like every disc I got was like, heck yeah, let's see what this does out in the field. Like
Nice.
super cool. But I guess my question, and I'm so sorry it's not FPO related. I come from like a background of BMX, like full of crashing, and like I know you come from like ultimate. Like what would you say is like your like end all be all? Like if you had to do 3 exercises that would like really benefit your game going into the next season, like what would they be?
Like workout exercises?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I just did my first. Well, I started working back out this week. Yesterday was my first day of like running and biking again since the turkey trot, which was forever ago.
3 weeks ago or so.
But yeah, I would say the 3 things, if I could only pick 3 things, is you're probably going to want to do core. So, I mean, obviously there's not one exercise for core, but you want to make sure that you have an extremely strong core. I think that was the easiest thing for me to gain distance, was being able to rip the disc through my core, using my core to generate a lot more turn speed that way, right? So I would go core. Then I would say the next would probably be your hamstrings, mainly because of knee stability and protection from injury. The big injuries that you see in disc golf are mostly knee related. And you're going to want to, especially with like slippery tee pads or playing when it's rainy, any of those things, you want to make sure that your quads, mainly your VO, I believe it's the VO, which is like the muscle that's like right above your knee, that part, you want to make sure all that stuff is super strong so you can stabilize. So like a good one for that is like the leg raises, right? Where you have your feet, you're kind of like sitting down and your feet are like dangling, and then you got to like extend your leg, and you want to do it too where you're like, some people just like crank those out and they're like, right? You actually want to do it to where you have like light weight on it, and you like do like a hold. So you like get your leg to where it's not completely straight, but pretty straight. And you like hold it for like a good solid 10 seconds, and that will really burn. Right. So do that one. And then if I had to do like another one, it might be like back, like a dark horse, like, what would be a good, I don't know about, I just know like certain things at the back. I mean,
stretch my
yoga,
back a lot.
yeah, yoga and flexibility is also really, really huge. But yeah, I don't know.
When I worked out
Maybe
specifically,
even some hips, like getting some. It's weird because it's
flexibility is important in disc golf.
like a lot of stuff, like obviously flexibility wise, but like a lot of stuff is like rows, like getting rows involved with, but you're doing your lower body and your upper body, like those things.
What I did
will all help you get more rotational power.
when I was trying to work out specifically for disc golf back in the day. This could be awful advice, so just take that with a grain of salt. But what I did is like I didn't have a trainer or anything as far as like, hey, this is the sport I'm doing, tell me what to do. So I just tried to figure out like, hey, what sports have similar motion that I can figure out what do they train in the gym and then translate it. So I did.
Did you just get jacked forearms because you thought baseball?
I did some baseball. I did tennis and stuff like that, which forearms help your forehand a lot.
Yeah, they do.
A whole lot.
They do.
Especially like touch and control, to be able to just like flick your wrist with your forearms. That's underrated. But I did a lot of baseball, tennis, stuff like that. Tennis, like you just have to kind of customize it. Like you don't need like really quick lateral quickness in disc golf. Like where you're just like like there were some things in tennis that I was like
Hunter's
that clearly
just
isn't
doing
important.
ladders in the backyard, just like
Yeah. Like there were
absolute
some things
mayhem.
that like with tennis and with baseball workouts where I could look at and be like, I know that's not going to be important in disc golf, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna cut that out. But like I basically just looked at sports that had similar movements and then picked and choose to create my workout plan.
Also, just bench press 300 pounds and that'll help.
Nah, I
Oh,
don't do
dude, no
that.
problem. I weigh like 150 soaking wet, so that's
There
no
you
problem.
go.
Like, we're good.
That's
No,
perfect.
But,
bench
dude,
press, that
thank
should
you.
probably do nothing for you, so don't do that. That was a joke.
Dude, super helpful.
Yeah.
Rooting for you next year, man.
Hey,
And
appreciate
also, go Gavin Rathbun, Team Eagle Ridge, Oswego. Have a
Hey.
good night, guys.
I appreciate it, man. I like Gavin. I always like it when someone shouts out Gavin. Gavin's a good dude.
Yeah, I think flexibility is probably the most underrated thing in disc golf.
Yeah, the more
I think
flexible
that's way
you
more
can be.
important than being like bulked up.
No. You don't need you don't ever want to be jacked.
No.
You want to be quick.
You wanna be a rubber
You
band.
want to be fast. Yeah, you want to be fast, and long.
I was me
Fast and
throwing
long.
600 feet. Do we have another caller?
All right, we got a caller.
Another caller. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're on. How's it going, man?
It's going good. How are yourself?
We're chilling.
Nice. This is Jesse from Wisconsin. I called actually before and talked about the USDGC and the pay-per-view
Okay.
model and how I felt it was a good thing and they were getting too much slack. I'm calling tonight to talk about how I think golf courses are actually like the future of the sport and they allow for a more exciting match along with the possibility of higher scoring variance.
Yeah,
which
I mean,
is not the normal. So
yeah, I don't know. It's so funny because so many people hate the golf courses, but I'm wondering if that's just because we got so many. So we talked about this. There were so many like back to back to back that
Yeah.
maybe people got bored of it. But the golf courses are the only courses that added difficulty in a way that really caused a lot of problems for people's approach shots and putting.
yep.
In the woods, the only time that you really had people get bogged down with putting was like when there was a tree in the way, which is, most of the time they can just straddle out and like still send it, no problem. But with those bunkers around the greens and with the undulations with the hills and stuff, causing rollaways, causing you to have to really think about your angle of your disc coming in. That I view that as very similar to like controlling like the spin on your golf ball into a green.
Yep.
It is important, when you have hills and stuff, you now have to think about, okay, if I throw it this way and it comes in this way, it's going to hit and then, just start rolling down the hill. I can't do that. Or when you have a putt and you're like, if, you're 40 feet away and you're like, if this doesn't hit any part of the basket, it's going in the sand trap and now I'm 3-putting, right? Is the
Right.
idea. Like, I just saw a lot of players that normally don't show any signs of like weaknesses in like very simple shots in the sense of like 200 feet, right? You just have a 200-foot shot, the basket's right there, go for it. You put a bunker short of that basket and all of a sudden like you're seeing them throwing it 40 feet past, you're seeing them throw it in the bunker, you're seeing them. I love that. And I just think there was too many in a row.
Well, I think the difficulty that you have to worry about is golf courses, when poorly designed or sometimes they just don't allow for anything else, can quickly just become a hyzer fest where it's boring to watch. It can be boring to play where it's like, yeah, this hole, I just throw 2 hyzers and I'm parked for birdie. Next hole, oh, it's a par 3. I can just throw a hyzer. Oh, this hole, sweet. Switched it up. Forehand hyzer. Okay, back here, hyzer. The woods at least provides like interesting shot shapes, but the most difficult part of the woods in my head as far as the future growth goes is coverage camera wise, coverage as far as signal goes for live coverage, and spectators. It's nearly impossible to get really good like if we had 10,000 people show up to Northwoods Black, they're just not watching the ground. There's no way.
Right.
I have a disc golf video coming out probably tomorrow maybe. And it's the one that I played in Kauai on the old abandoned golf course. And I'll be interested to get your take on it because there are a couple holes where you are throwing hyzers, but
Well, that's why I said a
but-
bad designed golf course is that.
Yeah,
because it's just open.
This one, they did a really good job, I thought, of incorporating trees. So like they would have like a tee pad where 10 feet to the right is all trees. So there is a huge fairway, but it's like a dog leg to the right. And so like for you to actually throw a good shot, you actually need to throw like a turnover shot versus the hyzer. Or they would have like you set back to where there's like 2 trees in front of you, 20 feet in front, and you got to like, those are double mandos or whatever, to where like you actually can't throw a hyzer through there. You have to throw a flat shot. So I think I agree with you. I think obviously if you have something where they're simply just like throwing, like Goat Hill's kind of an example of a course a little bit where it is very much like tee pad to green, tee pad to green, tee pad to green, and it follows the same flow of the golf course, then you do get a lot of those shots of where you're just throwing in a wide open field essentially somewhere. But I think that's where you have to kind of get creative, get off the fairways, play in some of the tree lines and go that route. So we'll see, man. I think, like I said, I think you're spot on when you said it shows more scoring separation. And I think it also shows more scoring separation with without like the luck factory, I guess you can say, right? Because when you do get in the woods, there is a lot of like, oh, that kick just costs, like 2 people could throw bad shots, right? And one's actually a little bit worse. And so because it's a little bit worse, it like misses the first tree completely and gets a better result. You don't see really that happening out on those type of golf course holes. If you miss, if you airball a putt, you can't be like, oh, I got so unlucky that it went in the bunker. It's like, no, you airballed it. It is what it is. So
Right.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks. Touch on a couple things.
Oh,
if that's okay, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I think like a lot of the people like myself, like our mid 900s, we would feel normally that the wooded courses would be more difficult because we're not as consistent as the pros. And so, getting off a tee, within 50 feet of the tee box, hitting a tree may be more common for us. Whereas I feel like when you're watching the pros, if they do end up messing up bad and they get a bad kick into the woods, and I'm talking like the top 20 guys where you're really going to see them on coverage, you're going to be watching them more than anyone else. You're going to notice that they have the ability to like scramble. Maybe they're only 150 feet away from the basket at that point, whatever it is. And so they are saving par in most cases like this. But on golf courses, I think you are able to challenge people kind of like you said with, what course was it? Was it in Oregon?
That was the best one. It was the Portland Open.
Yeah. So I would love to see where they do like a combination of the Oregon course and like how they did Utah, where was it hole 1 in Utah? Is a par 4. The basket was right on top of a hill on like the back end of it. And I think a lot of people birdied it, but there's so many. I mean, they can do a lot more than okay, you have it at this hill. I would like to see them. Maybe it's hard to say, but I don't want OB directly next to the basket because what I don't want to see is, okay, you went OB. Now you have a par putt from 8 feet away.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's how you make it so that, okay, well, we guarantee they get a stroke if they miss, but at the same time, their comeback is not that difficult. So I think there's ways to challenge it. You guys had a caller talk about, like, okay, what if you had, like, the grass really short, and he was describing a hole where you wanted the disc to flare skip right or left. I don't know if you remember that call last time, but I think there's ways where, and this would have to be determined by the pros, like, what if you had, normally on a golf green, the putting green is like super short, right? What if you did the inverse and it's 3-inch tall grass and it's only 25 feet from the basket, and then after that is like what is normally a golf green, this super hard flat grass,
skips
and
away
if the
bad
pro
shots
doesn't
and
land
stuff.
within that target zone, they're going to get movement on that grass, but it's not OB because what you'd want to happen is you'd want it to move further away from the basket before going OB. So they're not, having a 25-footer for par. They're now having, okay, well, you didn't land in the desired zone. Your disc skipped, and now you're OB 40 feet away. So I just think, like, our golf courses have that ability.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are in the infancy of course design. Kind of what you were mentioning will be difficult to accomplish on a golf course that's still operational because Most golf courses are not going to want to change the length of the greens or anything like that, like length of the grass to affect the golf play there. But we are in the infancy of course design. I don't think we've even crested any sort of hill of where it could go, which is exciting. And I think over the next 5-10 years, I think you're going to start seeing a lot of trial and error. Hey, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? See what sticks, and then we go from there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, what people come up with, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Well, you guys have a good night.
All right, man. Take it easy. Yeah, no course that is operational is going to want to change. That's going to allow a change grass.
Eventually, people are going to be able to like buy and fully operate and maintain a disc golf course based on the pay-to-play aspect of that disc golf course.
Yeah,
and then
or you just buy
do whatever they want.
You buy an abandoned course,
Golf course.
Buy an abandoned golf course, and then you do whatever you want. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
What's up, man? You're on.
Oh my gosh, how's it going?
You made it. Welcome.
Holy cow, it's nice to hear from you guys. It's good to see you. So I've got a question. There was this guy at my local league, and he was doing really, really well, and he actually ended up taking a few years off, and now he is transitioned to a female, and he has recently been going over and beating all of our females by like 10, 20, 30 strokes in the tournaments. And I just wonder if you guys have any opinions on, transgenders in sports and maybe the males coming over and dominating the females.
Yeah, we had this question, I want to say
it was a few weeks ago.
3 or 4 weeks ago, where a lady called in and was asking kind of
a similar
question kind of on the FPO and what are our thoughts and stuff on it. I mean, I think it's a tricky question in the sense of like we're not directly affected in the sense of like they're not that person's not coming into my division.
Yeah,
so
I understand that.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. I think at some point we should definitely have
an FPO perspective.
Yeah, but also the question is like, is anyone on the FPO going to feel like they can speak freely on this issue? Like that's the other thing is everybody's going to get.
Well, the hardest thing though is like the way disc golf is and operates is we have to look at other sports because, I mean, we're a sport. There's other sports that have the abilities to do all of the research, all of the studies, and all of that. And what disc golf has done is essentially put in, I believe they went by like the Olympic standards, or something along those lines, where someone who has the ability to know like what standards need to be met, where there's like inhibitors and stuff like that before a player is able to go from MPO to FPO or from MA1 to FA1 and all of that, as far as like sport goes, as far as the testing and stuff like that, I think the only question that I think at this point could be raised by someone is just like, what does the testing look like, the regular testing, to make sure that that person maintains whatever the levels are and stuff like that on the science side. But I think disc golf it would be crazy if disc golf chose in this one case to go against all the other sports, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if every sport is like,
they're fine with it.
This is the standard of like once you've met X, Y, or Z and you have like this level hormone, this whatever, this level X, Y, or Z, like the science stuff. Once they like, if every other sport has that, and then disc golf's like, nah, we're smarter than all that. Screw it. We're gonna do this. Like that would just be weird to me.
It is what I'll say. Divisions.
Yeah, that's a bit of a risk if they were to do that, for sure.
Divisions are created so people can be competitive in their division, right? That's the whole reason why divisions exist, right? There's a reason why there's Pee Wee football, there's U16 leagues, there's whatever, all these different age, and those are the two main ones, is ages and gender, right? Those are the two divisions.
Yeah. Okay, so can I pause you for a second? So going back to the person in my league, like I said, they were in the MPO playing and doing somewhat well and ended up transitioning and now are playing in FPO.
Yeah.
So do you think that they should continue to play in MPO because their FPO scores are pretty much almost exactly reminiscent of their MPO scores?
I just think that divisions are created so people can be competitive in those divisions. I think, obviously everyone here knows, like, as you get older, when you're 10 and now you're 14 and now you're 18, as you get older, you are actually better. You will be better. So you can always play up in an age division. You can never play down in an age division. And then it goes to a certain point that we decide, like, okay, when you're past I can't think of what it is in golf. I think it might be 40 in golf, of where it's like, okay, when you're past 40, you now get to play with everyone over age 40, but you can still go back down and play on the PJ Tour, right? So at a certain point, you can go back down. At a certain point, when you're younger, you can go up. And this is where it's just like, I think on this thing, we got to make, like, people got to decide, like, is it an advantage for people to go outside their division or not? And I think, again, it's going to come down to a lot of the FPO players talking about it. I think that's, if there is a problem and, like, the FPO people don't like it, they're going to have to speak up about it.
Yeah.
I think
they've been
that's
trying
what
to
it's
speak
going to
up about
be.
it in my league, and let me just say one thing: the FPL players are pissed. Okay.
Oh, I
mean,
and in your league, you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. Locally, they are not happy.
Yeah.
It's been near fist fights, near cat fights.
Jeez.
Not good.
It's definitely it's a question that I don't know when we'll know the answer, like the definitive answer, because it's not a question. It's weird because the way it's been seen and the biggest contention point up to this point, at least in my mind and what I've seen, has been sports. And I think that's going to be the way it is for who knows how long. But, like, it's a weird.
Sports is the big one, because what other divisions are there?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's no divisions in
the
workplace.
The weird thing is it's not a sports question, but it affects sports. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, the question, the question that people are using to answer it is MPO and FPO mixed and female.
But it is a sports question, though, because that's
but you
why
see what I'm saying, of, like,
that's
the
why
question,
you can't take steroids and stuff like that, because they've decided that, me and you are on equal playing fields.
Yeah.
If you take steroids, you are now not on an equal playing field anymore.
So I guess that's where the science just has to
it is what it is. But all right, I think that's all we got on that topic for now. But we do appreciate you calling in.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm seeing a lot of comments, though, in the chat saying, like, there should be a she-male division. What do you guys think about that?
No,
I don't think we're. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna.
That's the worst.
I don't think
that's a terrible idea.
I don't think we're gonna go into that.
I agree.
All right, take care, man. Have a nice night.
You too. Sounds good. Love you guys. We'll see you later.
All right,
have a good one.
Bye. Yeah, I mean, I think it's in the news. It's gonna get talked about. I think it's not gonna go anywhere. I know some people in the chat are like, "You've already talked about this. Stop talking about this." It's not gonna go anywhere until, like, like you said, there hasn't really been a definitive, like.
Yeah, what I want to know is what comment section was that guy reading?
Yeah, I think
he just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I think he just made that up.
I guess that's a risk with live callers. People can fly off.
They
the
can
handle
just say
and
whatever.
What they want.
Yeah.
But that is someone coming from. Some people were saying he was trolling. I don't think he was trolling. I think.
Well, that's whether he was trolling or not. That is a legitimate question.
The last thing
going
he
to be
said.
asked.
Yeah, the last thing he might have been trolling.
If he would have led off with that, that's a Julius Caesar immediately.
Yeah, Julius Caesar.
But what Julius Caesar, man.
But you hear a lot of these kind of situations that people are. There isn't necessarily like a right or wrong answer. Like, there's not right or wrong, but there's people, even now, people on one side as the other, right? A lot of people will go to stuff that is, what is it called when you, like, talk about something that's happened to you?
Like personal bias, personal opinion?
No, there's a word for that. When you say something that someone will say, like, well, that's just what happens to you. That's not the grand scheme of things. There's a certain word. Someone in the chat knows what I'm talking about. But firsthand knowledge, kind of like that. Yeah, it's somewhere along those lines. but it clearly like that guy was in a situation where he probably has some friends or that's right there.
Anecdotal evidence.
That's it. Thank you, Eric. Boom. I think you're going to get a lot of stories like that. You're going to get a lot of people saying, hey, in my situation, the women are pissed. And then you might get someone completely on a different side of the spectrum, different side of the world say, hey, we have a league over here and there's no problem. There's no problem at all.
He kept saying league. If it wasn't a PDGA sanctioned league, the question would more so be like, was a person abiding by PDGA standards?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? To where like, is it a problem in that league just because like the director of the league is just like, I don't know, and the person hasn't met the PDGA standards, and that's why there's whatever advantage he's claiming is there? Or was it a PDGA league and then that's a different question. But again, like as of right now,
you see my point though? Like I'm just trying to take the whole.
You're saying as to why that person has a different view?
What? No. My point in this whole stance of like whether you're on this side of the fence or this side of the fence of where someone that transitions where they should be playing, because we're not hearing it on the other side of the argument. We've not heard anyone say there was a FPO player and she's transitioned and now she's playing NPO.
Because
we're not hearing any of those.
NPO is mixed, so like Paige Pierce could play only NPO already. If Paige Pierce,
but we also don't hear. But we also
win,
we also don't hear that in any other sport.
Well, it's the same thing in any other sport. If Brittany Griner could be a 10-time All-Star in the NBA,
is every sport? Is that right? Is every single?
There's been female.
That might be
high school
right.
Football
You
players.
might be right. You might be right in the sense that like there is no men's only. Is that right? Can anyone check? There has to be a sport out there that's men's only, and women only, right? There has to be. I could be wrong.
I don't know of.
I could be wrong.
In high school I played basketball teams.
Basketball. Yeah, I mean NBA, NFL. Golf, PGA Tour, like women can play on that. Oh, people are saying darts. Okay, so maybe some skill.
Darts. That might be it.
Well, no, I don't think darts is. There's no way because like I saw cornhole. Cornhole should be like the same as darts. There was a woman competing in. Well, I don't even know if they did have divisions, and she was competing in the men's. I don't know.
All right, we got another caller.
Oh, one last thing I want to say on this. Last thing I'll wrap it up. What I'll say is like. The reason why there's age divisions, and I'm comparing it to age divisions because that's the only other division I can think of right now, is everyone has agreed that as you get older, you cannot compete with younger people, right? It is not safe, for example, for an 18-year-old to play football against a 14-year-old. So you have to have an age division so that they can all play and compete. If you're going to say that you do not have an advantage because of your gender, then I don't think there's an issue.
Well, I think the question is, does the Olympic standard and all of that of the testing and everything required, basically, if there is the advantage,
if there is an advantage,
does that neutralize the advantage? And if the answer is yes,
that's the question.
That's what science has to decide, and that's why I'm saying like
that's where
if every other sport's deciding like this makes sense, who is the PDGA to say it doesn't?
Yeah. All right. New caller, new question potentially, or topic of debate. Hello?
Hello.
How's it going?
Great. How are you?
We're chilling.
Good. So this could end up being a real short conversation. I've got a question primarily for Hunter, but Brodie, if you've got anything, you can definitely chime in. So Hunter, would you say that Paul McBeth is the GOAT?
The greatest of all time?
That's correct.
Yeah. As of right now, yeah. Because, I mean, the only other competition is Ken Climo. And though, I mean, the way you'd have to compare it is basically like, could Climo with today's disc technology be able to do against this field what Paul has done? And only disadvantage I have in this argument is I didn't get to watch Climo in his prime, but I've got to watch Paul in up to this point of his prime, and yeah, I don't see Climo. I mean, I think Climo would almost be like a Ricky in today's day and age, where he'd be able to kind of compete with Paul, but I think Paul would beat him more times than he'd beat Paul.
Interesting. I would definitely agree with that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I heard you briefly mentioned this a couple weeks ago. You said that on the MJ versus LeBron debate, you're on the MJ side.
Yes.
And I'm sure whatever the main argument is, 6 for 6 titles. That's what everyone says.
Mm-hmm.
But if titles are so important, like why doesn't Ken Klimel's 11 world titles matter? Like I feel like.
Can I answer that?
I mean, I know they matter, but.
Can I answer that?
Oh, you can feel free.
Yeah. And this is where I think too, like as of right now, you would have to say that Paul is the greatest disc golfer to ever play. That could change in the next couple of years, which is the crazy thing, right? Like if Eagle starts really, if Eagle continues on the climb that he's on, I could see him doing that. If Ricky starts taking off too and has like 3 or 4 really good years in a row, I could see that too. The reason why I think Climo, the winning as many times as he did, doesn't really like compare to Jordan is basketball still was very established in the Jordan era, where disc golf, like I would say, like disc golf is not even in the Jordan era right now.
I'd call Climo the Bill Russell.
So that's why I think too, like I think someone could win 2 world titles, for example, and be considered could be considered the greatest disc golfer of all time, like better than Paul, and only have 2 world titles in the future, because you look at what that person is doing and you just go like, oh, well, Paul was never doing that.
Yeah.
Right. And the only reason he has 2 and not 5 is because to win 1 is harder than any of these guys had in the past. Because you look at Climo, for example, you know, if you go all the way back there, how many people was Climo really competing with to win worlds?
Mm-hmm. Well, those are good points.
So that's just the question. You're beating a field of like 5 guys, let's say, versus beating a field of 50 guys. Like everyone's going to look at that person that won 2 and 50. And again, the whole LeBron Jordan thing, you're looking at like the skill level, right? The stuff that LeBron did when he, especially at like his young age, no one had seen that done on the basketball court before. And so it's very difficult to like say like, oh, well, he's not better than this person, whatever, because that person has 4 titles. It's like, that's where I think you'll see right now the infancy of disc golf is very, very small.
Yeah. I think LeBron James is the greatest athlete to ever play basketball, but he's not the greatest basketball player.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with pretty much everything you said. One thing that I think about when I think of Jordan, and it kind of is a similar comparison to, I feel like disc golf now compared to maybe not all the way back when Climo played, but like when I think of MJ compared to the competition today, like he obviously didn't have to play against guys like Giannis and Kevin Durant and Jokic, like 7-footers who can shoot threes.
He also didn't get to play with those players.
What's that?
He also didn't get to play with those players.
I mean, he played with Scottie Pippen, who was like one of the top 10 players in the league.
What is Scottie Pippen doing nowadays?
What does that mean?
Like if he was in the league now.
I'm just saying he played. You got to play with the people that you have. Like he played with one of the top 10 players in the league.
But that's what I'm saying is LeBron played with. Like you can't just say because the league got better that makes Michael Jordan's game worse. Like LeBron, the league got better.
No, but if you're putting up the same numbers now as you were putting up again, I mean, it is what it is. It's different. Basketball is a different thing. I think it's much easier to look at disc golf because it's individual sport. So it's much easier.
My biggest argument against LeBron
let's stick
is
with disc golf.
He's always needed a team around him.
Okay, let's stick with except that one year that he had no one in Cleveland and he got to the finals. But
got to the finals. I didn't hear you say win the finals.
Fair enough.
The East was absolute
Let's
trash.
stick with disc golf though. I think like what we're gonna see from players 20 years from now in disc golf, I think we're gonna be very, very like, oh my gosh. Like what the heck? Like
we're in I mean,
we're in shock
made
factor.
a better. Someone probably made a better reference when they said Klimo's like the Pete Maravich, or like you can even go farther back. Like Klimo was basically playing basketball in a laundry basket.
And the thing is you can't knock the guy. Like we're not trying to knock the guy. He won what he He won the tournaments that were placed in front of him against the people that were placed in front of him.
Yeah.
But if you literally just look at skill level, this to this to this to this, like there's still going to be, if you don't think there's going to be a skill level gap from where Paul is to the next person, you're crazy.
Yeah.
There is. Like
and
Paul,
there's going to be a player that is better than Michael Jordan eventually in basketball.
yeah, I mean the skill level in disc golf, and I would say like it's probably a way smaller gap between Michael Jordan and the next best player, for example, right? But like in disc golf, because it's such a young sport and because like so few people have given it a go, like it's going to be nuts. You're going to see someone that can throw, like look at Eagle. You're going to see someone that can throw 500 feet backhand and forehand, can putt like mad crazy, and then has an insane mental game. You're going to see someone like that. And, you know, we haven't seen that person yet because the sport is so small. And like it's just going to continue to evolve. People are going to continue to get better and better, learn from the people before them, and there we go. But I think we'll never see, I don't think you'll ever see someone win 5 world titles. I don't think you will.
No, it's
No,
going to
I
keep
would
getting
agree
harder
with
to
that.
do.
That's a little hot take for me. But I actually don't even think that's a hot take.
No, I don't think so either.
No. The only person that could do it right now is probably Ricky because he's got 2. So he could theoretically maybe win 3 more in the next 15 years, let's say, but that's still 1 in 5, and that would be pretty crazy to do.
Someone in the chat said PDGA number 80,000 or less, say Climo. I'm 77807, and I say Macbeth, so your point's out the window.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for calling in, brother. Have a nice night.
One last question.
Oh,
Yeah.
a
Real
lot of
quick.
double
Do you think
questions
we'll
tonight,
see-
Silas. You're being very nice over there. All right, go
I
for it.
almost hung
Sorry,
up on him. Sorry.
Go for it.
Real quick, do you think we'll see another 1060 rated player anytime soon?
Yes, absolutely, because ratings are inflated. So we'll see a 1070 rated player, a 1080 rated player. We'll eventually see an 1100 rated player. Actually, no. By that time, ratings will be gone because people will realize. But yeah, we definitely will.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
take
thanks,
it
guys.
easy, man. Did Climo have a forehand?
No one had a forehand back then.
I mean, how
There
do you
wasn't-
say
There
a guy-
wasn't disc
how
technology
do you
for
say a
it.
guy's better than someone that doesn't even have a forehand?
Well, it just wasn't disc technology for it. Discs
It
weren't
doesn't
like,
matter though. Like you had, like in that regard, like you can't. Again, I'm not knocking the guy,
Yeah.
but we mean disc technology for it. You can throw a forehand with an ultra star. They were
But-
playing with disc better than an ultimate disc.
Yes, but there was no reason to. There's also the course design. There was no reason to back then.
All right,
That's why forehand is like.
I don't know.
You got to go into like 2005, 2006.
That's
to
just
start seeing,
that's
like,
wild to
Nate
me. I didn't
Doss-
know he didn't have a forehand.
Nate Doss never really throws forehands. Very rarely, and the dude won 3 world championships.
That's
and
fine.
His last one was 2010.
But if you ask me who's better, Nate Doss or Chris Dickerson, I'm not picking Nate Doss.
That's a tough one. Doss or Dickerson? I might go Doss. Well, we haven't seen enough of Dickerson yet. We need to see a little more of Dickerson.
I mean,
That's tough.
are you taking Doss over Kyle Klein?
Kyle Klein's way too young to be in any conversation right now.
Oh, that's just wild. That's wild to me that you're comparing 2 people that, I mean, because when you're comparing Jordan and LeBron, like Jordan did everything that Jordan could do everything that LeBron does, but LeBron just did everything faster, higher, whatever. They were still doing the same stuff.
Think not though. What?
Like Jordan can like dunk, right?
Sure.
LeBron can dunk.
Yes.
But when LeBron dunks, you're like, oh
Jordan's
my
a
gosh.
better defense player, was a better defender. He had more
All I'm
talent,
saying-
more skill.
No, all I'm saying is
LeBron's just
no,
athletic.
hear me out. They're all doing the
You
same.
put LeBron in any sport,
No, you're
and
not
he's
hearing
gonna
my
be
argument.
like a great.
You're not hearing my argument. My argument is they were all doing the same thing.
Sure.
Like they weren't. It wasn't like LeBron wasn't shooting 3-pointers and Jordan was. They both shoot
No,
threes.
yeah.
Yeah.
The 3-point line has to.
That's
have
what I'm saying.
moved,
You're comparing Climo and Paul, and one person literally doesn't have a throw versus someone that has both. Is that not crazy? Am I crazy, Silas?
I mean,
Silas,
Oh,
jump
no,
in here.
you have
Am I
no,
crazy?
you have a point. Okay.
One person.
because-
It's the same thing as saying someone
Climo-
can't putt from circle 2. Like they just
Correct.
couldn't putt from circle 2.
Climo could throw a forehand, but it's like he had no need to back then.
Those two aren't
Course
comparable.
design. Someone made a great point. Course design back then was like the pre 3-point era.
Okay,
disc golf.
Someone was saying
Okay,
that.
So,
that
like,
makes
why
sense.
would
Why
someone
would you
shoot
shoot
that
that far
far out?
when it's the same points?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because like the course design, like it was everyone threw backhand back then. So like, why would you throw forehand?
Okay, and people are saying Climo, like you said, Climo
He
does have a
did. He just
forehand.
you didn't need
You
it.
just didn't have it. Okay.
There's no reason.
You didn't have to throw.
Because a lot of players back then came from like freestyle.
Well,
and
then my
frisbee thing.
argument, I take it back. I apologize. My argument makes no sense. Then he has a forehand. My argument's gone.
Yeah.
Cancel my argument. One more call, Silas.
Canceled.
One more
All right,
thought.
here we go.
My deepest apologies. Hello?
Hello?
You're on. What's up?
Hello? Hey, how you doing, guys? First off, I'd like to say, Brodie, I'd take you every time over any disc golfer.
Oh, let's go.
Secondly.
Let's go.
I'm Zach. I'm from LA. I'm calling about the PDGA Tour card.
Okay.
What I wanted to say is that I think it'd be really interesting if they implemented something like kind of like soccer has relegations, where there's like a tournament at the end of the year where maybe like the bottom 10 guys go up against the top 10 guys in the advanced leagues or however they want to do it. Whereas like the top 5 or top 10 that come out of that tournament end up moving up to the pro card, and the rest of them have to go back down and fight their way back up. It would give us like a lot more new names and a lot more reason for pros to like stay on top of their game and really practice more often.
Well, how does the golf tour card work?
I mean, I think Hunter sometimes should be relegated.
To what?
Like
right now, what they're doing
you
is
might
that,
have a
like,
bad
the
week on the
PGA card.
podcast, and you gotta get relegated, and we can put Trevor in here.
Dang.
Get relegated for a week.
Get relegated and have a night off, and I mean, have my wife would try to get me relegated every week.
So golf, I
To
believe,
be able to be home from 7 to 10 p.m.
golf, I believe it's like, oh gosh, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Let's say 100.
Yeah.
So if you're 100 in the, I don't know if it's the FedEx Cup points, but they have a point system. If you're 100 in there, you retain your card. Also, like if you win an event, all this other stuff, you retain your card, right? And then if you don't retain your card, you're out.
Yeah.
You
It's
got
it's
it.
not
You
the
got it. You
exact
got to try to work
situation-
it back in.
It's not the exact situation where like there wouldn't be a tournament in this case, but it's a similar thing of like X amount of players. Let's say it's 10 players.
Top 125.
So let's say that 10
So
players in
outside of
disc
top
golf-
125, you're now the next year you are trying to get your card back.
Yeah. So let's say that in disc golf, there's like 10 players that are dropping off the tour because
Uh-huh.
like the bottom 10 get quote unquote relegated. And the top 10 from, we'll call them the Silver Series in disc golf, because that's probably what it's shaping up to be. The top 10 Silver Series point finishers get to take those 10 spots on the tour card.
I like that.
To where throughout the year, if I play on the Silver Series, I can make a decent living, an okay living. And
I mean, that's how the Corn Ferry. That's how the Corn Ferry Tour
That's what I'm
works.
saying.
Is like the top X amount of guys, 16 guys or whatever, guarantee. Then you get like 2 or 3 from the Mackenzie Tour, which is in Canada. You get a couple from the South American Tour, and then you get a couple from the Asian Tour, and then boom, you got like new blood, kind of.
I think we're
in the
2
PGA
to
Tour.
3 years away from seeing that in disc golf.
Yeah,
I think.
it'll be
I think-
interesting.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's.
I think that right now disc golf is a little too homogenized though. Whereas like
everything's as one.
The PDGA is just one entity. Whereas I mean we are getting the European tour, sure, but like we're going to see the same guys over and over just cycling through the system. Might as well make it entertaining. Throw a tournament at the end. Give some more guys chances to be on cards that we haven't seen before. Maybe give however they want to do it, but it might make it more interesting or exciting.
I mean, I think you just need the best talent. That's the thing is like if you're the bottom of the PGA Tour, or in this case, if you're in the bottom of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, you didn't have a good year. See you later. Take care. Good luck with you. We want the guys that just played really, really well on their other tours, and now those guys are coming in. I think that's more important. I'm not a huge fan of this charity case of where it's like, oh, we need to see new faces, and I don't like that. I think it's the people that are playing the best are going to be thrown in front of the camera, and that's how it always shapes out. Except for the first round, as of right now, they have these feature cards, and that's kind of just to try and generate as much revenue as they can and much interest as they can in the event. After the first round, though, it's whoever's playing the best. So
Yeah.
if Hunter enters in a tournament,
You're not
and
seeing me.
shoots the hot round. No, if you shoot the hot round on hole 1. Or not hole 1.
I might be able to do that. I might be able to just sneak a birdie on a hard hole. somehow.
If you shoot the hot round on round 1, we're seeing you, dude. We're seeing you. So, yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I think they got to get the tour card situation figured out first, get that running. But, yeah, I think we're not I don't think that will never happen. What you're saying, I think that will eventually happen at some capacity of where you played bad, you're out. Hey, you played really good on this little tour over here, you're up. Boom.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. Thanks so much for calling in, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for your time, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, take it easy. Someone said something. Oh my gosh, where was it? Someone said something that caught my eye, but that guy had a good thing, and I just got completely sidetracked. I was going with that, and I didn't have it. But yes, Climo did have a forehand. That is one thing one thing I learned tonight. Climo did have a forehand. And again, I would like to sincerely apologize to all those out there. Oh, someone did say, this is what it was. Someone said, hey, get some pros to call in. I'm sure they have some hot takes. No, they don't.
Yuli called in a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Yuli did call in.
What was his hot take? It was something about a hot dog.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think.
No, some pros have hot takes.
It was a condiments thing.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get any real big names. And here it is. Like, if they want to come out and talk, I would love to hear it. I don't think they're going to do it because too many people, and this is okay, it is what it is, too many people don't like saying stuff that other people might not like.
Might not agree with.
So they, instead of like speaking their mind or saying what they believe in or whatever, they're just going to, and it's fine, it is what it is. They're going to play you're never going to know. And so if I really like this person, I'm just always assuming that they're on my side with everything I think because they never say anything. But that's why I don't even think, trust me, my DMs are wide open for if any pro wants to hit me up and say, hey, I would love to call in and talk. We'll set it up. No problem. I'll tell you right now that no one has sent in the DMs anything like that. And I think it's because it's scared's kind of a nasty thing to say. That's not the
It's
right
not necessarily
word.
scared.
It's not the right word.
But
Fearful?
Sure.
Isn't that just a synonym for scared?
They just want to be liked by everyone and not want to be hated by anyone.
Yeah. I think
well, it's because disc golf as a sport isn't big enough that if you tick off half the people in the disc golf,
then you're a nobody.
Well, your career is going to be hard to do because who's buying your disc?
Yeah.
Well, also I think too, it's even like multiplied now with the whole cancel culture situation, right?
To a certain degree, yeah.
So like people see like if they say one thing and then all of a sudden everyone attacks them, but you gotta have. I'll say this: it will be a lot nicer. No pros are watching this. That is not true.
That's just not even.
That's definitely not true.
Someone,
I will tell you.
This.
Well,
someone said if you turn the foundation logo 45. This is completely off topic. I'm ADD. If you turn the foundation logo 45 degrees to the right, it makes an F. Is that intentional? Yes, Tyler, and thank you for noticing.
I will say one thing about a lot of athletes. This isn't just disc golf. A lot of athletes love reading and hearing stuff about them.
Yeah,
they love it. So the fact that you can believe what you want. But yeah, I just don't think people are going to call in. It is what it is. It's fine.
I will say one thing that shocked me at USDGC is, I guess it shouldn't have shocked me, but it did. Trevor and I both, and Connor actually, got recognized probably 3-1. No, not that side. Not that side. Yeah, we got 3-1 for the podcast, for Grip Locked, over our YouTube videos.
Oh, from pros.
Well, pros there was more pros that stopped and said oh, love the podcast. Even some old heads in the sport.
Oh yeah.
That I would have thought would have hated us were I love what you guys are saying on the podcast, and I was it validated to a certain degree. It made me feel good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Let's talk about this because this is interesting. Disc golf is 50% now social marketing. I'm curious. Is he talking more on the pro side where pros now you go to their Instagram accounts and stuff and it's just every post is buy this disc. This is a sick disc. Buy this.
Isn't the world about 50% social marketing?
No.
There's something to think about.
No, I'm just saying. I'm wondering.
about that while
I'm
you're
wondering.
sitting
Well, I'm wondering if, like, obviously, if it's like a company, then yeah, I mean, their whole job is to market on social media. But if you look at like other athletes in other sports, most of their posts are not about like go buy this, go buy this, go buy this. But I think in disc golf, pros are having to do that so much because that's like the only way they can make money.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're not making enough money. I don't know. But I don't know. Do you see, has it changed a lot? Because I feel like when I first came in the sport, I didn't really see that many pros doing stuff on social media. And now it's like everyone's doing everything.
It's definitely changed over
It's like a wild
over the
west
years.
out there.
Because I remember like back in the day when Kona was like just starting to tour and make a name. The reason she was making a name was she was like one of the only people who were like touring or trying to be a pro, because she wasn't quite a pro at this point, that were like very active on social media. And so like if you wanted disc golf content, it just didn't really exist, because Jomez was only doing coverage back then. Terry and the disc golf guy, like Smashbox, existed, but like if you didn't want interview content, like you wanted just like right now, if you type in disc golf, like you're gonna find us doing tons of challenge videos. Simon, Yuli, Jomez, Ezra, Tristan Tanner. You're gonna find all kinds of people doing challenge videos and just like disc golf content galore. 2015, you're gonna find in the bags and coverage, and like you're gonna find some like disc reviews, like the disc golf weekly, who now works for DD. He used to have a lot of stuff. The disc golf nerd still's around. Some of like OG's disc golf media people, but that's what existed, was disc golf reviews, some forum tips that were like filmed at clinics, in the bags, and that was it. But now there's so much stuff out there.
If pros though were making more money, you wouldn't see as much of the
look at the pros that are doing the best. Like
no, I'm saying
from
you
their
have
contract.
you have to push yourself right now.
No, what I'm saying, like for instance,
Is that what you're saying?
Like Paige doesn't have a very, unless I'm missing it, doesn't have a super active like YouTube channel and stuff like that. And the stuff that she posts and pushes on her Instagram is like stuff that's like Discraft's dropping and doing for her. You don't see Paul posting, hey, I just got this run of PM discs in, I need to sell it. You know what I mean? You see Ricky do it some, but that's just, Ricky's a hustler. Like Ricky, he's always done that stuff. But like, you see what I'm saying? You don't see Eagle getting me like, hey, this is you see him being like, Discmania told me to push this disc, but you don't see
I wasn't saying that. I was just saying like Eagle will jump on sometimes and do like an hour live stream on Instagram.
That's just for fun.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think
what I thought the player was talking about was like there's a number of players that have their own custom stamped disc and have to sell them, and like that's all you're gonna see for like 2 weeks straight. Because like if I don't sell out of these discs myself, I'm pushing them, I'm doing everything. If I don't sell out of them, then, this is my month's salary here. I need to sell these.
Yeah.
Whereas like you don't see that from the top players, because the top players do social media if it's fun and they want to do social media.
I also think too, like there's a lot more media requirements in other sports right now for like top players. Does that make sense? Like if you're constantly going and doing photo shoots for other people, constantly going and filming,
it's because there's not other media
stuff like that. You're not going to feel like I need to go out there and do my own thing. That's why like you'll see a lot of other athletes, their social medias are very like not personal, I guess you could say, but
because like ESPN and
they have so many other things doing it. Where like here
Barstool, they're doing player content for them.
Yeah, if you place 50th in a tournament or 40th in a tournament, you pretty much have to let people know that you did that. No one's going to be really talking about it. I don't know where that even came from.
Not either. Boom.
It is what it is.
Let's wrap it up.
Someone was saying Brodie was already sponsored by Discraft and was an easy sign up when he moved to Disc. I actually was never sponsored by Discraft. Some people thought that. A lot of people thought just because I played Ultimate, I was sponsored by Discraft. I don't think Discraft, I could be wrong, but I don't think Discraft has ever sponsored an Ultimate Frisbee player.
Well,
mainly
because if you're the like official disc of the league.
It's the official disc of
Why
the
would you pay
league,
players?
so yeah, everyone has.
It's like Spalding's not putting their name on players.
Well,
They might have
what's
like
the point?
Yeah, because they might have a player in commercials. And I'm sure Discraft has had ultimate players
Well,
in
all-
if there was an ultimate
yeah.
commercial. I don't know if there is.
They're also like top head and shoulders over everyone in their market. They don't like really need to market an ultimate because they have so many other people. Like literally every legit ultimate team you go to, if you show up with something other than an Ultra Star, they'll be like, get that out of here. So they have like just like built in marketing from
Word of mouth.
word of mouth from all these people. So they don't like why
they
do
don't
they
need to do anything.
They don't need to do anything as of right now. I mean, that might change. Who knows? Yeah. So the reason why I threw Ultra Stars all the time was because that was the disc that we used in competition. So why would I go out and use what was Innova's Pulsar? Is it Pulsar? I
Yeah, they
it's
have a Pulsar.
Yeah. Why would I go out and do a video using a Pulsar or like a Daredevil, something that flies differently than the disc that I'm already using? So that's why I always use Ultra Stars. Boom. Never was sponsored. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. This was a good little chat. We kind of bounced back and forth there a little bit. Silas over there, doing his thing. I felt like this. I felt like it was a good podcast, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I just got done with this workout, and I don't know, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Why?
What do you mean?
I'm not all here right now.
Well, that means a great workout. They
Yeah.
took it all out of you.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, maybe the podcast wasn't as good as you
we
thought.
were supposed to, we were supposed to go to La Coretta after our workout, and me and Kelsey looked at each other, and I said, if you take me there right now, I will.
I got La Coretta.
Man, La Coretta sounds so good.
I got to be up in 6 hours.
I was like,
to
I
be able to
will
get to the
puke
gym
it
to
out.
meet Trevor.
This is also one of the reasons why I was thinking about, like, do we change the time? Let
No.
us know. No.
I mean, we can.
Well, I just want to let people know. See, like,
Hunter,
if the
tell the
time.
people how the gym game's going, man.
That's a Bogey Row banner topic, man.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. All right. I think that's all we got. Unfortunately, no one from the Instagram. I was really hoping someone from Instagram, because people get real salty when the Disc Golf Pro Tour posts anything about me, and I love it.
They're not calling in, man.
I want them to
It's
post.
just because I have 48 accounts and I just kind of.
I want someone to post something about
Can you
you.
imagine?
Could you imagine if like Golf Digest posts something like Hunter Thomas takes on the journey to break 100? Do you think people would be salty that they posted something
That
about
would
you?
actually be. There's no way to test that, but I'd be very curious.
To see like, who's this guy?
Well, it's like when
Who's
it's
this
like
guy?
when Sports Center posts about LeBron 50,000 times.
Yeah, it's that, or if they post about someone that
Where it's just like
I'm
people,
not gonna.
people
I'll
who-
say it. The female kicker. Like whenever that post comes up. I mean,
because they
the
make
comments.
it's whenever
section
there's
just-
so many posts about something.
Yeah, when they blow something up, when they just go after it all the time. All right, Silas, do you have anything to say to the people?
I need something for my backdrop here. There's nothing back here. So if anybody wants to send anything,
Silas,
That's
if
all.
you give Silas a mic in 10 seconds to say what he wants, he's gonna ask for something.
What do you mean?
It's just that-
I need
so far,
something for the
anytime,
backdrop.
Silas isn't.
anytime we've been like,
Yeah.
Silas, you go for it. Silas like, hey guys, look,
Shout out
this is the only
to-
sweatshirt I've got. Send me something.
Hey,
Silas isn't 50% social marketing. He's 100% social
Yeah,
marketing.
Shout out to all my fans on Twitter. I make sure to stay active.
How many followers you got on Twitter?
I got 80.
80
80
Hey,
something.
if you're listening to this right now, go over here. Shout out your Twitter. Let's see if we can get you to 100 after this episode.
FDG_Silas.
FDG_Silas. Let's get the man to 100. Silas, when do you think your next video appearance is? Because I do have to say, like, he stole the show.
It was electric.
You stole the show.
That putt on 9.
You
or
stole
18.
you stole the show on the last one. Is your next one going to be potentially you playing one hole of golf?
I would
try to
love
get
I
20.
would love to play.
All right.
I would love to play golf.
If enough
I've never played. Never picked up a golf club in my life.
See, when you said like I've never played, I'm like, that's not crazy. But when you said I've never swung a club,
Never swung a club.
that's wild to me. That you've never once was like invited to Top Golf.
Oh no, Top Golf around here.
Yeah.
That's also a very recent thing, Top Golf.
Okay, well, that's true. but like you never like once experienced it. I'm trying to think if there's a sport that I've never once attempted.
If I went through,
Like think of an obscure sport, because golf is not obscure, but like think of an obscure sport.
The only time I've ever done anything with
Cricket.
lacrosse is
Yes.
You play cricket?
Yes.
You played cricket.
Yes,
only time I've ever done anything with lacrosse was the all sports battles.
I've
all
done.
sports
I've
disc
done
golf.
lacrosse too.
I'm just saying, like, there's some sports that like.
Give me another one.
Curling.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, in Minnesota, I think, or Wisconsin. Yeah, I fell on my butt.
Wow.
Synchronized skating.
Is that you're talking about the one with
Ice
the
skating.
cones?
No, synchronized.
I mean, I've ice skated. I
No.
wouldn't consider that.
Nope.
I wouldn't really-
Synchronized skating.
I don't even think that's a
Have
thing.
you and a partner ever
Fencing.
synchronized?
That's a
skating?
good one. Fencing.
Oh.
I've never fenced,
You've never
but I bet I would be dirty.
Water polo.
Yes.
So we're just gonna skip over the synchronized skating.
That's not a real sport.
Oh, hot
Whoa,
take.
whoa.
We're gonna end it there.
Okay, this is why, Silas, this is your job between now and the next podcast,
Yeah,
is
that's
to
my job.
find the nearest fencing academy. Because who do you think?
What
let
if
us
we made
know.
our own?
Let us
Who's winning fencing?
let us know right now in
Yeah.
the comments right here who's winning in fencing at Foundation. Silas has the reach.
Silas is
Trevor
barely
has
at 90 followers.
Trevor has the quickness. Silas, you're at 90 10
Oh,
more followers.
90.
FDG.
10 more people.
I'm gonna put it in the
That's
chat
all
right.
we need.
Oh my gosh.
All-
What,
all we
what
need
the
is
heck did
10
I just
people.
the heck did I just do?
Oh
Oh,
my
my gosh, I did it again. Can I not chat?
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay. FDG oh, it said just fog. Oh, this is turning into chaos. FDG _ Silas. Follow the man. Let's get him to 100.
Boom.
That's all we got for you. Next week, we'll all be here. We'll be here. Another show. Will we be in a new studio? We won't have it?
Not yet.
What are we doing?
Soon.
Not yet.
I mean, it took us
Hey,
2
really
months
quick,
for Silas to get a
If
camera.
you pick up winter
Oh, yeah,
line
yeah. Shout
apparel
that out.
item,
Shout that out.
which is the sweatshirt I'm wearing,
Oh, I have
windbreaker, Trevor or Silas is wearing a sweatshirt,
have
Dark Horse beanie, anything like that, and you also add a disc to your cart, you get 50% off that disc from now till Christmas Eve. Treat yourself this Christmas.
Treat
Go ahead.
yourself. All right.
Don't feel bad. Do it.
Have a good one out there. All you
Social
people that
marketing.
didn't call in and are just sitting back behind your keyboards, enjoy it. Enjoy it. We're here every Tuesday night, 8 p.m., ready for your calls. And if you're getting salty and you want to get in, we'll do this too. I will now open my DMs. So if you really, really disagree, I will open my DMs to where if you want to call in, shoot me a DM, give me your number, and we will call you
Boom.
into the show. That's how we're ending it. Have a nice night. Are you doing hat trick shots?